light to break their spine and reclaim what once was mine. Those cravens backstabbed me, deceived me. Never shall I tolerate their crimes again. Now let the hunt begin. Oh, 7,000 souls scared and daunted, such a tale of woe. Not too long ago, this village was a golden scene of hope. Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our Gloria to live forever. Bring down the dark regime. I know how to unleash eternal power. Lead us to order. I am the light bringer. Fellow warriors, I ask you, should my campaign come to an end, there's way more to avenge. Oh, 15 million souls living in this realm without much hope. Not too long ago, this kingdom was a golden state of hope. Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our Gloria to live forever. Bring down the dark regime. I know how to unleash eternal power. Lead us to order.
and welcome here, everyone. We are here at the end of the week, of course, with Aegis Esports Protector League, and Lord knows the teams are ready to go. Of course, I know that we had some thoughts about which teams are going to be coming in and having a blast for us here on stream, but we are going to be taking a look at the Blue Saber Wolves Dawn versus Conduit Regrets, a matchup from week number 4. I'm sure both squads are looking to have a good time here. My name is Orbital. With me is Jordan Bot on the broadcast, and we will be your casters for this evening. Jordan, how you doing?
There's a smell in the air, and it's smelling like it's playoffs time, and I always love playoffs time because the stakes are high, and that means if you don't put up, you're stepping down. That's it. So who will join the clown crab wranglers waiting in round number 2 is going to be the question, because that's a tall task in itself. But taking on the tall task is going to be Conduit Regrets trying to take down Blue Saber Wolves Dawn in tonight's matchup.
It's going to be a good one, I think, mainly because I'm very excited. Even though this is a 5-2 squad, I mean, we're looking at the side of Blue Saber Wolves Dawn. We cast them quite a few times as well here on the stream. They're a squad that is repping a 5-2 record with an 11-5 game score, and the entire squad is really, really well put together. Rona Zoro in the top lane, Yeonjun in the jungle, and then Wisteria, one of the most interesting champion pools in the mid lane, Mystic and Silly Goofy in the bottom side. I mean, this team has always been fundamentally pretty dang strong.
Yeah, we've had so much praise sent their way. Wisteria has just time and time again impressed us with crazy pocket picks, and the mid-jungle synergy to get the ball rolling has just really worked well for them. Mystic and Silly Goofy, our critique of them have always been that we think that their champion pools are a little bit greedy, a little bit narrow, but a lot of these middle of the pack or lower tier teams in the APL have not really been able to expose that. They've struggled up in the top of the table, but here we are. They're going to try and take on Conduit Regrets.
I think they're going to do a very interesting job here, and love the fact that you pointed out that champion pool, because it can be a mess, especially in a best of 5. You have to be really worried about champion pools if they're pinched or anything of the like. Going over to the other side, though, Conduit Regret, they are a squad that are struggling throughout, 3-4 on the game record score and 6-9 in terms of game record. It's a squad that has had their ups and downs, and tonight may or may not be any different. We got Weez, Galata, Merciful Crow, Trash Panda, and Yipsy down there, and it's a couple subs in the back pocket if they wish to trade anyone out, but overall this is going to be a tough matchup.
Yeah, the story of Conduit Regrets in the APL so far has been the meta has not really favored them, in my opinion. With the situation in the mid lane with all the 80 carries in the meta, Merciful Crow has steered largely clear of that, and now as we're sort of maybe exiting that meta of the 80 carry presence and saying hi to our lovely new mage Aurora, Merciful Crow, that's right up that player's wheelhouse. So what they're going to do here in game number 1 is going to be a sight to see, because if they can get control of mid, I really like Trash Panda and Ipsy, the magic they are able to create in the bottom lane to get the ball rolling for their team.
Well, let's see if they can do so. Right now, we're into the draft pretty dang quickly. We got Regret over there on the blue side, and then the Wolves over on the red. And overall, it's been, those bands are pretty easy to identify. You got the Garen and the Poppy, both really big playmaking or just control champions. Up there on the top side, Zoro, I think, has played an exceptional Garen before. And then, of course, Yeonjun, I think, with the Poppy mixed in there. Heavy target inside of that jungle role, though. The Amumu and the Shyvana. Amumu, of course, great game changer, but the Shyvana, of course, huge lane bully if you let it through.
Yeah, taking some flavor picks off some of the one tricks. There's actually, it's not too often you get to say this, but there's 3 Garen players on these 2 teams, so that's weird to say. So there will be no Demacia shenanigan flex picks going on, at least so we know. So what do you think Conduit is going to look to secure? And it's that Aurora priority. We were wondering, it's almost seen as a mandatory ban on red side, but it's going to slip through, and Conduit Regrets say absolutely, we'll scoop that up.
I think one of the few things is Wisteria, I'm sure, has some random stuff in the pocket to deal with it. Not only that, Yeonjun might be punishing. We know Aurora does require a lot of help, and you mentioned it before, it is going to be on Glada and Merciful Crow to really try and take over if this is going towards that mid lane. The Mundo band down on top side does take away one of the big tanks, but the Wukong hover, if this is going to Yeonjun, would be a pretty nice power play. It has its ups and downs, so let's be honest. It's not one of the strongest in terms of either playmaking or anything. It feels like the Orianna of the jungle. It can do a little bit of everything, not exactly perfect though, not super strong in one way or another. If the Zillion is locked in, though, that could be a little bit silly, and obviously we swap right over. That looks to be just, hover wherever we so wish and figure out which support we want, because, of course, we talked about it. The Leona is still on the table. The Nautilus is still on the table, and those are way too high priority to go ahead and let through. That's Emilio coming out here.
We've talked about this before. Silly Goofy loves that Milio, probably his most played so far in the APL. Renata Glask, other champions of this kind of nature. He likes the range champs. He likes to be a little bit greedy in lane and then get the ball rolling later. It's a quiet lane phase for Mystic and Silly Goofy. They seem to they seem to like to scale up, and the action is going to happen around Wisteria and Yeonjun.
Now, of course, out come the other safety picks. The Ivern coming in here, hoping to bully out into the late game, have that shielding out and available. But this does draw that Leona pickup. We mentioned it before. It is very strong. I mean, Milio is seen as a slight counter to that. I mean, you can go ahead and use that ultimate for ultimate kind of counter activity, but there's still some power behind it. The Leona has such great catch potential. This leads me now to either, are you going to match in the mid lane? Yes, you are. You're going to pick up that Galio, which has been sneaking up in priority outside the ADCs. Very strong with the MR shielding. I think it's an all-around good pick.
Yeah, I completely agree. A lot of magic damage on the side of Conduit Regrets, so the Galio pickup is pretty nice. You needed something to enable this Wukong. Wukong, as you said, a champion that cannot really super excel. He's not an S tier champion alone, but you pair that thing with an Orianna, you pair that thing with a Galio, suddenly the all-in actually sticks. So I like to see what both teams have picked up for themselves. They've got some proactivity in certain parts of the map. Conduit has elected for some action down bottom, hopefully, and the Wolves have obviously gone for a pick that Wisteria can maybe go crazy on. A lot of movement around that mid lane, make the center of the map extra scary.
Well, of course, right now we're taking a look at that top lane very, very specifically, and I mean very, very specifically. That is now 4 bans at least thrown into that top side, with the Jinx just kind of to round it out, which makes sense. Hyper carries with that Milio can always be scary. Zeri's on the table if you really want to mess around and try and stay away from some of those options. It's not great, but of course the movement is really what you want. Ezreal still on the table as well, but compared with the Milio, feels a little bit weak. So what are you going to pick up here? Or are you going to leave it to an R5, which would be very interesting? There's a Zeri that we were talking about. If that is locked in, it gives a nice mobile composition over to the Wolves.
Nice call out there, Orbital. Trash Panda loves his ADC counter picks. He's played a lot of things like Aphelios, Jhin, even Kai'Sa, so you could set up a bit of a kill lane here. So that's what I'd be a little bit worried about. But Milio's so nice in the sense that she brings that sort of innate cleanse in her ulti, so that Zeri can still itemize that barrier, because we are largely in that barrier ADC meta. So what will Trash Panda grab up for himself? It's going to be the Twitch. Okay, so we're going full balls to the walls in game number 1. Where are we going from here? Weez, are you going to grab us a blind pick Renekton? Are we looking for like a Mordekaiser to round this out? Or are we going, maybe we even see the ninja guy, the Shen with the big shields, to make this Twitch perhaps unkillable?
Well, you can't do Mordekaiser, so it's one of the other two, or you go with the double Tom Fuzz or elongated Tom Fuzz with the Cassante in the top side, rounding out a very nice front line for the side of Conduit Regrets. Overall composition knows what they want to do. They want to go forward, they want to bully, they want to capture one person, set him inside that bouncing Aurora cage, and all of a sudden things are looking dicey. For the Wolves, though, they get to decide how they want to play this out. Cassante is well known as being that annoyance. You don't have another tank really to deal with it. I would almost assume, well, okay, there is the Malphite, but I don't know if you want to do this. It's tank versus tank, and Cassante wins that 9 times out of 10. There's the Orin hover, and it's just going to be a little bit of conceding on both ends for this early game. So Blue Saber Wolves Dawn building out a pretty hefty team fight composition, with Conduit Regrets doing the exact same.
Yeah, the R5 Ornn is a little bit curious to me. Maybe it is just a matter of we got to pick our lanes, but what that tells me is they think that the Wolves are aware. They think that they've won the draft. They think we've got the tools that we needed. We just need even more frontline. We just need stability, a little bit of scaling splashed in there. And it's going to be on the side of Conduit Regrets to try and disrupt that, because the Ornn is a bit of a ticking time bomb. Zeri with an Enchanter, big unkillable frontline. The Twitch might add a little bit of an X factor here, but I do look towards Conduit Regrets to establish some kind of a gold lead in this one.
That'll be a really, really interesting one to watch for. And honestly, I gotta ask you specifically, because we saw it first pick. I know you just mentioned it's strong, but what do you think of the Aurora? Does it fit? Does it need a lot of help? Do you think the Ivern's a good pickup there for it?
When I sort of look at the pieces, the first three, Aurora, Ivern, Leona, we've already got problems. We've got way too much magic damage and way too much Merc Treads value. And the Galio pickup there really tells me that the Wolves, again, we know Wisteria going into this series is going to have a very diverse champion pool, the confidence to pull out whatever pick that he thinks is the best for the situation. And Galio absolutely screams out his name, as goofy as that character is, when you see these first three. So he's going to itemize Merc Treads, and he's going to be able to do whatever he wants. So Aurora is maybe a Z-tier champion on the patch. I'm not going to disagree with that. However, this is a really, really god-tier Galio spot here in game number 1. So if Wisteria plays, it's kind of the question of which Wolves are going to show up today. Is it playoff form Wolves the way they played last week? Because they're just coming off of a fresh win. Once again, taking down another one of the APL out of the standings. And on the other side, Conduit Regrets are coming off of a loss, a tough final week in the regular season. So does that confidence seep into playoff week, or do these players have enough sort of like resilience and competitive composure to be able to reset?
Well, that's all up to the players to really decide here. As it is the Protector League, there's a little bit of leeway on both ends, but one team has to come out with the win, and we want to see a good one in the end. We are going to talk a little bit about the compositions a little bit more later on, though, because if you want to try and draft like this, maybe get a dub on the board in your next solo queue game, we have the tool for you. Go ahead and check out ProComps, our sponsor here with Aegis. And of course, we got a little video to tell you a little bit more, so go ahead and listen to them. We'll be right back with game number 1 here at the start of the playoffs of the Aegis Protectors League.
Quick shout out to ProComps, our sponsor and a game changer app for the league community. This isn't just like the other tools. It's your personal draft coach, perfect for both teams and solo players. In fact, you can pair it with any other app you use. ProComps stands out with features like custom champion pools, personalized tier lists, and live draft advice. Think of it as having a virtual coach and a strategy toolkit all in one. They offer real-time champion ban recommendations. They already have over 200,000 downloads and thousands of daily users just like you. ProComps is user-friendly and totally free. It is a no-brainer to at least give it a go. Download ProComps now and you'll experience a whole new level of drafting power in your league games. Go to procomps.gg, download it from Overwolf, or click the panel below on our stream.
And we are here ready to go for game number 1. Blue Saber Wolves Dawn versus Conduit Regret. And Conduit Regret, hopefully not regretting anything here in game number 1. It's going to be a spicy one, to say the least, as we get a little bit of a cheesy action here with Stereo waiting on the edge. That's going to be a taunt to come out here. It's a nice little tag of damage. Gypsy should be able to flash over the wall. However, the damage is actually turning around. I don't know why you turned back in. You should have been out. That's first blood over to Wisteria.
That is not what you like to see here in game number 1. I was wondering if it was going to be enough damage to threaten Gypsy's flash, but actually kind of just lost his mind there, goes back in and falls as a result. We touched on the drafts, the Wolves electing for a bit of a comfort scaling draft because they found such a good Galio Wukong combination of picks there in the first 3. And Conduit need to look for a little bit of a gold lead in this one. Got to create some chaos. They do have some tools to do so in the Ivern, the Twitch, and the Leona. So eyes on your screen. Keep tracking the idea of this invisible rat. See if we can get up to anything surprising.
It'll be very interesting. Oh boy. I'm just I seeing that first blood go down is just like, dang, this is going to hurt. But of course, where it's currently standing is everything feels kind of safe. However, Yipsy is about to get eaten up in the early stages, but Trash Panda is like, yo, you're the one with the squishy support. I don't know why you did this. Exhaust going down here. Is that just a flash out and a flash to follow, and no expunge to come out just yet? I think Silly Goofy is going to live, but man, bad fight after bad fight situation. Both supports having a little bit of a rough start here.
Yeah, that'll be really good for Yipsy to establish early dominance and control in this lane. The Leona getting a freebie to level 2 by finding that good level 1 trade will be really nice for him. So a good bounce back here after giving first blood on the 5-point.
And of course, in that same vein, we have to watch and see how these level 3 M4s play out. Taking a look, Glada is slowly creeping through, just making sure to grab all of those camps. You can go ahead and see the pings going down from the Wolves, just saying, hey, we saw a little bit of the shade of the abilities, but bot side is really where our eyes are currently sitting. So that's an attempt at a stun, but Mystic being able to kind of dance out of harm's way. Top side, of course, Rona Zoro is just saying, hey, I'm exactly where I need to be. I'm in top side, getting some good poke down and getting the CS.
Yeah, we always say this, that Orin versus Cassante shouldn't be a super spicy matchup, but the APL top laners like to kill each other frequently, regardless of matchups. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that if that gets any spicy. But speaking of spicy, here comes Wisteria going in for a little bit of trade, making this a little bit low health bars.
And I think that's exactly where Merciful Crow kind of wants to be right now. Get a little extra damage down. I mean, you had the pots behind you. Wisteria, of course, went back and picked up that Dark Seal, which we didn't mention, but trying to get a little extra on the HP pots isn't a bad thing. It's just, you know, how many kills are you actually going to get? How much value is that actually going to bring? Right now in the bottom side, though, our eyes are just constantly drawn down here, which I think is fair. Glada as well as Yeonjun have been gravitating towards this bottom lane. Silly Goofy in their own is looking a little bit more dire. Of course, in the overall gist of things, the CS department isn't that far apart. And everyone's just kind of like in their own state of mind. We say that as Merciful Crow and Wisteria getting dangerously low to possibly not have their flash. Merciful Crow bowing out of mid lane first.
Yeah, these first 2 mid laners trying to take a bite out of each other's health bars, back and forth, pots exchanged, bunch of trading. Only 1 tower shot there for Wisteria. Just trying to force out the TP, the first recall. Not too much gain, not too much loss. Aurora will pick up most of this wave. And so far, quiet on the Rift.
I think at this point, does it benefit one side or another? Because I mean, we saw Glada go ahead and get a very quick recall off. Went for the 2 fairy charms, a lot of extra cooldown, and then the boots as well, just moving around the map. And this is going to be that first time for Yeonjun, who opted more for the damage route. I mean, we can start seeing some differences there, but Glada really feels like they're leaning into that we are going to play for the team style.
Yeah, that's maybe to be expected. The only lens that I can really view this lane or this game through is that the Wolves are a ticking time bomb. The composition that they drafted for themselves, the greedier enchanter safe support, Mystic is going to be unkillable later into the game with the front line that they've drafted for themselves, with the tools they've drafted for themselves. So the eyes are on Conduit. You have Leona, you have Twitch, you have Ivern, you have complete control over the bottom river if you want it throughout a lot of this game. So it's going to be, are they able to leverage that into a meaningful gold lead that will translate into some neutral objectives?
All right, now I think that's where they really do have to look. Merciful Crow is starting to take the brunt of it, and this is something that we did talk about is, you know, this ability of Wisteria to get so much free damage down. And you can see the cooldowns are not exactly favoring Merciful Crow right now, which is why Glad is currently hanging around, but on top of a ward as well. This is a flash forward into a possible kill. The slam is good, and Wisteria says, yo, get that new age champion out of here.
That was super clean, and I just want to highlight that was a Bammy Cinder Galio. This is a Galio that's powering up for team fights to be that unkillable frontline to help Wonjun deliver the Wukong ultimate onto the backline of this immobile Twitch, this immobile Aurora of what she is. And this Aurora has already fallen down about 15 CS. No teleport either, so going to be a lot worse for wear, and that is going to be Grub Camp number 1. All 3 looking like it's going the way of the Wolves.
I mean, this is what you earn, of course, now with that recall and that run back. Merciful Crow is here to try and dance a little bit of damage. Wisteria, remember, doesn't have flash, but Merciful Crow does, but they have to leave it to its own demise. Remember, Merciful Crow really doesn't have as much punch as you would like. Went Boots and the Amplifying Tome early, so the damage spike isn't exactly super great. With Silly Goofy, of course, rotating towards that mid lane as well, things are going to stay at about a nice little pace, but of course, that little pace is a 1.3k lead for the Wolves right now.
Yep. Mystic's actually in a very awkward state here. His lane is pushing away from him. Glada is actually lurking in the shadows. He's got no vision. Zeri is very safe and has that enchanter, but Silly Goofy might actually be in trouble here.
Oh, very nice kickback, but that's only going to save a 1. Silly Goofy is going to try and run, but the exhaust is going down. Yeonjun is here, only level 5 though. Silly Goofy gets a huge shield though to stay alive, so no kills will come through. This is the dream, the composition that Wolves have drafted, as Silly Goofy lives on 1.
Yeah, honestly, pretty good play there from Conduit. They do not get the kill, but they do get both summoners out of Silly Goofy and the Galio ulti. We all know Galio ulti has about a, what is it, a 15-minute cooldown, it feels like, when you're playing this champion. So getting that out of the way is actually really good. It might open up a nice dragon option on the side of Conduit. So a good look from them, not rewarded with the kill, but rewarded with some very hefty cooldowns.
And the fact that the Wolves barely got away is just a testament to also their just own skill. So I like the fact that you call down the Conduit regrets. They're like, yo, we know the Galio ultimate isn't up, which means now we can battle as hard as we want. Weeze, of course, going into the top side. No flash because the ghost is the only thing there, but now a little bit of a shard back. Nice dash away as Weeze is going to be safe. But Dragon is next on the chopping board as there's no TP for Roran Zoro. Oh,
yeah,
no way.
Could teleport if he wanted to, but it looks like we're just gonna pull the trigger.
Oh, that was a little bit silly. Yeonjun, though, realizing they might be in a dire strait, but over the wall, that's gonna be a solar flare missing. Wisteria is now gonna dash away. Glada, I mean, Glada's, you know, recalling when you're in the middle of a battle may or may not be their death blow later on. For right now, though, you're pretty tanky. You got Daisy to help you out.
Yeah, Leona able to kind of stand her ground and shove off any advance there from the Wolves. We kind of talked about this, that Conduit Regrets should have complete ownership of the bot side river, and that was the Wolves kind of walking in without Galio ulti, without some key summoners, and Mystic hadn't even established push in the bot lane yet. So that play is a little bit ambitious, and Conduit Regrets are just going to shrug that off. But looks like Dragon number 1 just goes to the Wolves, and the trade-off for that is Ivern tapping a bunch more of his camps and getting a good recall.
I would honestly say, though, for the Wolves is actually really good. You take a look at what they're wanting to accomplish and the fact that they have basically claimed a lot of kills for nothing. And you mentioned they're taking time bombs, so this pace of game that's currently being played, they're not really worried about the current state of game, because as long as they're not dying, they're chilling. They've also gathered all global objectives, which is something that we don't normally see. We're not saying that it's always a trade of Grubs and Dragon, but this was a clean take of both by the Wolves. Very controlled macro right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's a lot of Yipsy not electing to go for topside roams. I think it's maybe just hand-holding this Trash Panda Twitch pick through a bit of the lane phase, making sure that he's relatively unscathed. I will say the one item spike on the side of Conduit Regrets is literally insane. When Twitch does get that Blade of the Rune King and can maybe threaten some meaningful health bars with an invis play, that can maybe snowball into some things for Conduit.
Let's see if they can do so. Wisteria realizing they're a little bit caught out, don't really have flash, but you mentioned the Merc Treads, and it's just that easy. Look at that, turning around the damage, by the way. That is wild to see. However, with that tag, Merciful Crow says, yo, I'm going back in, and that's actually a chase down, but in goes the ultimate. Punched out of it, though, so Wisteria is actually going to fall one way or another. Now it's on the rest of the Wolves to try and help out, but the exhaust is going to turn Yeonjun into a poor circus attraction, and that leaves Rona Zoro in the pit of doom. The Between Worlds brings death. That's a triple kill for Wheeze.
That was absolutely nice coming in from Wheeze, flexing the muscles right there. Wisteria lost his mind. I don't know if he lost track of how many people he was dashing into, but going down almost immediately. Ultimate canceled, and that was all Wheeze's fight.
I can't believe it. That is Conduit Regrets just enjoying what's going down here. That's going to be huge as well for the top lane play, considering Rona Zoro, you know this Ornn isn't going to bring a whole lot. That's an auto attack flying all the way by, but it still he's like, really, we're dealing with this. But remember, Wheeze on the top side, that's one of the champions that you picked later on in the draft that you're hoping to actually scale into the late game really, really well, which now means Rona Zoro and Yeonjun are not going to be able to contest this top side. Because, I mean, you take a look who actually is going to be outputting the damage. I'm actually very curious if Wheeze can almost solo carry some of this early mid-game pressure.
Yeah, I agree completely. He's going to itemize a whole lot of armor, and his base stats and his Merc Treads are going to carry him through any magic damage he's going to be receiving. So he's going to be buying a lot of time for Conduit at a time that they're really, really, really going to need it. So I really, really like that.
Well, let's see how much they can actually do, though. That's the other side of it. You know, even though you know you have the item advantage, you actually have to do work with it. That's going to be a little bit of chances. Mystic is getting some good damage down. Trash Panda eating that one up. And Silly, Goofy, and Mystic so far running a pretty strong showdown here. It's about a 2-wave lead. Mystic possibly forcing Panda to sit back much further, which means that this tower might be shredded, if not given an opportunity to kind of recall here. But looks like it's just a little bit of a warding mission for Mystic and Silly Goofy.
Yeah, we're looking at a bit of a tilted map state right now. Bot side is completely controlled by the Wolves, top side completely controlled by Conduit. You would think that this kind of benefits the Wolves as they are the scaling team. Ornn having to play safe is kind of what he does best up there. So it's going to be on Wheeze to really translate this lead. But 3-0 on the Cassante, looking really, really good as we are approaching the later moments of this lane phase. Taking stock of things, 3 grubs to both sides, meaning no Void Mites of any kind. So limited tower pushing on both sides. And as we're approaching Dragon number 2 in about 1 minute.
And in this current state, the Wolves, I mean, you know all the kills went to the top side, but it's still a little bit of a gold shift over. But I don't think you have to be scared just yet, especially since this is going to be Infernal. You do want to play for it. That can help negate a lot of the issues that came up earlier on. You can collect that extra, 3% 80 in AP. It'll feel kind of nice. Not just that, Yeonjun was just able to buy it. You can see the gold sink go down, and take a look at Wisteria, who is also hoping to recall with 1.1. And then, of course, Mystic, I really hope you don't have to sit on that 1.2 the entire time before the dragon comes up. But so far, it looks like that's what's going to happen.
I'm really confused by Wheeze's TP usage right there. I don't know if he's going to push and move down, but if I'm Conduit Regrets right now, I'm saying Ornn has TP. That dragon is ours because we have 5 potential members and you only have 4. Wheeze might just be trying to play for that individual tower, but if I'm Conduit Regrets, it's go time right now. Yipsy is postured here. Here we go.
Oh. That's actually a flash out. Silly Goofy, I don't think needed to, but what a binding going in there. Yeonjun, though, gonna Cyclone and grab 2, but only knock up 1. And now they're gonna try and challenge Yeonjun, though, going way too far deep, but it's good because the rest of the team is here. You only get 1 kill because the rest of the knockups are there. Daisy is gonna do some work. TP in for Rona Zoro, but you mentioned it before. Keep in mind who's pushing on the top side. So for the Wolves, you need to get this dragon.
I do like the play from the Wolves. The TP might have been a little bit overkill here, so Wheeze is kind of getting away with too much there. You just see the Trash Panda Twitch just not doing enough damage at this point. No items completed, meaning the team fighting. You're hitting a front line. It's not cutting through yet. So we do still have some pretty big spikes to look forward to. He's glad
this is dangerous. You don't have your jungler. Your jungler's not there. You're just gonna let this go away. No way. That is just a straight up smite. And you lose out on all ends. What were the Wolves doing?
Did I miss something? Did Wukong die in the previous fight? Like, where was he?
No, he recalled.
Okay, we're gonna call that a game 1 head scratcher. It's fine. There's a lot of league to play. The gameplay is not exactly clean from the Wolves at the moment, but they have set themselves up for a very successful late game. If they can get there, I do like their chances in this game number 1. Couple missteps though. That was weird.
I like how we're just saying it's like a couple missteps. It's like you missed 4 rungs of the ladder and just fell the rest of the way down. It's one big step.
That is true. Okay, Blade of the Ruin King finished. This is what we've been finally waiting for. Any player that plays bot lane with Twitch or as Twitch or beside Twitch, you do no damage, and then when you finally put together that first item and then that 4th item, you start to do some really big damage, and suddenly you might be threatening some members. But Mystic is going to be able to stay so safe if he plays smart, and that's what he's done all throughout the APL. So I really question, are they going to get the true value that they hope for out of this Twitch counter pick?
I mean, I think they can do some work. I mean, the bot lane hasn't been awful. We should say it's not been the most out of this world. But overall, it has been very quiet. It's been very neutered down there. So we'll see what happens, of course, with the roam out from Yipsy trying to get this Herald, which, by the way, we want to call out. Conduit regrets we're able to grab the other 3 grubs. That's why we're not seeing any worries there. This is a pretty good start for them. If they can use this Herald to also crack down on the mid or bottom side, it's going to be a very, very big dub for them. So we'll see what they can do. Bot side, of course, being shoved out. And it's Trash Panda being relegated to sit back at your tower. But of course, I'm not sure you're fully able to. This is a dive under the tower. It's actually going to be quite easy. But with the rat-a-tat-tat coming out here, Trash Panda is going to stay alive, especially with barrier still up. So tower for tower. But the Herald will go the way of Glada. Blue Saber Wolves Dawn able to grab something else on the map.
I do like the restraint coming in from Wisteria. With the flash invested, you would think that maybe you could take down Trash Panda there. The blinking health bars were occurring, but in this barrier meta, you can never tell, and you don't want to give something back unnecessarily. You are the scaling team. You are kind of just chilling.
I like the little tap. Just hello, I'm here too. Don't attack my ADC, please. Silly Goofy trying to just be that annoyance and pain in the backside.
Yeah, Silly Goofy's absolutely in his comfort zone right now on the Milio, scaling ADC. This is what the Wolves have taken so many matches off the APL teams with. And it looks like they might even be favored here in game number 1. They're boasting a 1.5k gold lead, and that is going to start showing through. We talked about it before. The value that they're going to get out of this Galio pick into triple magic damage dealing champions is tremendous.
Of course, still need to stack up a little bit more if you want to say you're perfectly safe. Go ahead, take a look. Trash Panda's just still trying to farm away, but now down about 50 CS. That's another side of it. That's actually why we're seeing that gold lead go forth. Mystic is being fed so much of the lane states that you're now almost a full item over your lane opponent. Take a look at that. That is going to be Runin's Hurricane plus the static Shiv, and it's just Mystic's already crested past that difficult phase for a Zeri, where you tickle for a little bit and then almost like a Twitch will just output massive damage given the opportunity to have the lightning crash, have the the E up as well. It gets out of control on both ends.
Yeah, I agree. And Trash Panda electing in for this counter pick, kind of saying to his team, like, I'll get the edge at some point in the game. Twitch is not known for laning. Blade of the Ruin King just got nerfed, so I wonder if this is the right time to pull out something like the Twitch. It is only game 1, right? We are talking about a best of 5 here, so maybe the teams are just kind of trying to see what is sticking, trying to see what their opponents are throwing at them, and some adjustments might have to come through, because yeah, 50 CS down on a counter pick, that's not what you like to see.
It's going to take a little bit of time, and so for Conduit Regrets, they're saying, okay, we can still play slow. We don't have to go crazy. It is going to be a Mountain Soul to play for, which,
-1.
honestly, I think both teams are actually going to really enjoy that one. Just the tanks are going to get tankier, going to get a lot more frustrating to try and cut through. Wisteria running interference here though, and remember Wisteria being this tank can sit out pretty dang far, but at this point you can see that Conduit regrets are like, as long as Wisteria's down on the field, you know at least 2 members are right beside him.
Yeah, we just noticed, we were wondering when Conduits were going to pull the trigger on anything meaningful. The Dragon is spawning. Weiss has moved his way down here. He is still very strong on this Cassante. So the posturing is starting to occur. Is the Crab going to be secured by the side of Conduit? Ivern can't tap it when the allies are smoking it like that. Smite's going to go over to Wanjun.
Yep. I mean, you already have the other one there, but that's Cyclone straight into the back line. Redemption coming in here, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Glada is safe. And look at the back side. It's an all-out fight. As that's going to be a blow through. That's Wukong down, but the rest of the damage is there. Solar Flare lands on Mystic's life, but who is really sitting forward? Mystic actually died sword. I'm not sure that's where you want to be. Verona Zone slices through the back line. This is going to be death all the way through. Mystic is still living. A tag of death on top as the poison won't do enough. Extra shielding from Silly Goofy as that's an ace for Blue Saber Wolves Dawn.
The Wolves are feeling themselves here in game number 1. You got the front line, you got the Enchanter, and Mystic is just unleashed, able to clean up all the kills there, playing the front line Zeri. Last hitting only one of them, I do believe, but pumping the damage. You see the teamwork and the team fighting coming from the Wolves, pouncing at just the right time, the patience in from the Wukong, and then just the blink of an eye, he finds his moment. He says, right now, and Conduit are not ready. They were clumped as 3, 1 member in the mid lane pushing. Weiss, despite his lead, was not able to secure anything meaningful in this one.
Not just that, huge shout out to Wisteria. We mentioned the Galio follow-up, the ability to get in to a fight just as well. And even though you're going tank route, you go ahead, pick up that Riftmaker. You are 2 items deep. Merciful Crow going for a little bit more of that ability haste. You can see with that Malignance. I understand that's what you want to run for, but Wisteria is pumping out damage in some of the most surprising ways in the current fights, and they were able to round out a 4-1-5 scoreline. 100% kill participation right now.
Yeah, the problem on the side of Conduit is the game pace has been too slow, and that favors the Wolves. We talked about it before, the scaling comp. You got the Ornn, you got the front line, you got the Galio, you got the Enchanter, scaling ADC. It's very standard, and Conduit needed to come out with something explosive. The Leona, pretty explosive champion, but going for the exhaust instead of an ignite. You notice that Silly Goofy got away from one of those plays on basically 1 HP. Would have gone down otherwise, and then this Twitch pick really hasn't been paying the dividends that you would like to see from Conduit. So game number 1 not panning out the way they had hoped, and finding a way back into this one. They're going to have to get scrappy, they're going to have to get explosive, and they're going to need to play fast on the map.
And I mean, 100% back on that one. It's just how long are they going to take to do so? This is going to be a drive around the wrap around as far as you can, and I mean, you're going to slam into the wall and don't really bring anything, and that's just Rona Rozoa flashing away. Now a TP coming in here, and Glada and Weiss have to run away, but in comes the Ornhorn, another TP to follow behind. Nice route to deny, but that's going to be a little bit of a talk going wide. Merciful Crow getting in, but the rest of the team is here from the side of the Wolves. Yes, you have between worlds, but the worlds are not in your favor. At this point, you are in enemy territory as the full weight of the Wolves crash down instead. It is dawn of the 3rd day as it's a triple kill for Mystic.
That damn Rift Herald seems to be the breeder of so many bad ideas. Hey, I can ride this. It's going to knock up the enemy. I'm running at an Ornn. The entire enemy team is here, and everything just goes black for the side of Conduit. Baron started up for the Wolves. We're going to blame the Rift Herald on that one, but this game is starting to slip away.
I don't even think it's just slipping away anymore. This is full on out of your control. And I hate saying that because, again, Conduit regrets they played a nice, slow, tactical early game. It's just they were several beats behind in the early stages. So far, the only kills that we've seen have come from that jungle fight, that river fight that just went sideways. Other than that, it's been what? Every single moves, it's been the Wolves calling the shots here. And for them even, it's been slow and methodical. But it is the appropriate amount of pressure to have at this point. Feels like the Wolves can just do no wrong. They can slowly walk in, end the game if they want.
Yeah, it just seems to be their 5 in one, like a whole team. They're just sort of, they play with one mind. You never are saying that the Wolves, as I'm even talking, Weez is trying to bite something back. It looks like you might even find the 1v1. Big shutdown for him. But the game is still in a pretty dire situation. 7K, 7,000 gold separating these two teams right now, and Baron in the hands of the Wolves. So pushing is going to be happening, but Weez able to pick that one up for himself is going to be just a glimmer of hope.
I like how you say glimmer, because it truly is. A star is so far away in the sky. Your jungle is not safe. Conduit regrets realizing that they are in dangerous sorts, and Yipsy walking right by just in time to see a ward and a Milio rounding out that corner. So the ward will not stay, but the dragon is the most important thing. Minute left on that one, but Trash Panda also walking in a little bit of danger spot. And I don't think you actually like to be here, as you are both caught. Even flash on the tower, but it doesn't matter. Cyclone knocks you up again, and that was one of the most dangerous routes I was watching. I was like, there's no way you live from this one, and they do not. The Wolves chomp down on their prey, and it feels like it's just never ending pain.
Yeah, the hardest part is probably the dire need. You're probably saying in the comms right now on the side of, as I'm speaking, we're going again.
I mean, that's a snipe, and that's an easy jump forward. You can tower dive this one with double to triple tanks. Wisteria's on the edge of the wall and actually caught under the tower. But Merciful Crow has to let them go. You can't kill that tank as much as you would wish. So this will be a brute force tower for the side of the Wolves.
Gonna peel off that one, head over to the dragon, pick up dragon number 3 for yourself, get yourself on match point, just kind of checking all the boxes that you would need. I was going to mention that Conduit is probably speaking along the lines of, we really need to pressure Mystic and kill this Zeri. And Zeri has an unkillable frontline, flash, barrier, dash, and silly Goofy just being so responsible in the backline, making sure that Mystic can play as aggressive as he wants, but not so reckless, right? And I just love that. I love that from the Wolves right now. They've found an identity that really works for them, and they're flexing on their opponents here in game number 1.
I will say, I do hope that they close it out neatly, as a squad that is tempting as one of the finalists of this playoffs run. It's a squad that we want to see be able to close out nice and easily. It's one of the things that I always like to harp on teams, and even though I watch them over the course of an entire league, it's like, you want to see it close out nicely. You want to see them be able to finish off a series or a game in a complete fashion, and if you can't, it's just like, dang, other teams can take advantage of that. For right now, though, there's plenty of time for them to do so. No real worries. I do like the fact that we are getting the ornaments coming down from Zoro. It's already upgraded, I believe, 1 so far in Mystic. So of course, if you look at the upcoming Baron, which is in about 2.5 minutes, it's like, dang, we are going to be more than okay. Zoro, for their own right, though, in a little bit of a dangerous spot, but the danger is really against them, as this is Glada getting caught out here, and that's going to be a little Zenith Blade to the back line. So Goofy, all right, trying to run away here. We're going to use that blast, going to try and get to safety. Double TP coming in here. Both of those laners joining in the middle of a fight, and this might be the fight that they want. Here comes a nice knock-up, double on the backside, and the rest of Conduit regretting their choices to enter this jungle. It is death from all around, as that is Weez annihilated, gasping for air. Yipsy flashing away, Trash Panda getting away as well. And it's just so easy for the Wolves as they look to take this top lane.
And Yeonjun showing exactly why in that frame, why you said, give me the R1, R2 Wukong. I'm confident on it, set me up for success, pick our scaling picks in the bot lane, and I'll find our engage angles. On this one, Conduit were just running forward, trying desperately to find something back. The teleports, suddenly you're in a 5v5, and I don't need to tell the audience who is going to win in a 5v5.
At this point, I think it could be even a 4v5. I'm not gonna lie. I think they could go 4v5 and still be fine. I don't see them losing at this point, but they are playing things extremely methodical. I honestly feel you don't need a recall. You don't have to worry about anything, but you go ahead and recall, drop a lot of gold, which is now a 12,000 gold lead. This entire squad is just buying up like it's Black Friday, and sales are galore. 3.5 items on multiple members, 4 completed for Mystic, who went ahead, picked up that IE plus that Immortal Shield bow. It is going to be absolute hell on earth, lightning all around for anyone that pisses off this series.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Again, you're just not really getting the output that you were expecting with that first pick, Aurora. Is it a flex pick? Is it not? We put it in the mid lane. It didn't really accomplish what we needed to. We didn't get to set it up for success. And then the Ivern, was this the right spot for the Ivern? I feel like this comp really lacks some teeth. I like to see some parts of the map that are really, really scary. So when I see Ivern, I want to see Ivern Renekton. Ivern Cassante, it's a lot of meat. It's a lot of shields and meat. It's not a lot of damage, right? Weez is hitting this horn. He can hit him for 20 minutes. The ultimate's blown on both sides, but who's gonna go down?
No one. It doesn't matter because we're watching the Baron go down instead. That thing went down faster than any of the HP bars on those tanks, and we're just going to have a fight. It's just that easy. It is the Ornn to win, by the way, on the backside, and this is just a cleanup routine. It's like garbage day all over. Merciful Crow is mercifully taken out, as that's the kill on the back end. Mystic is now legendary, as Glada is not Glada. Instead, they are Sada, as they are going to fall. A little bit of a recall taunt there by Wisteria, as that's another ace for Blue Saber Wolves Dawn. Roranor Zoro TPing into the enemy base, saying, I am not lost. This is exactly where I want to be. It is the Wolves to take game number 1, and not just simple, but clinical, easily one of the best games they've had all season.
Wolves playing crisp, Wolves playing clean. They take game number 1. They still have more to prove. And on the good side, the good news for Conduit is the series is super not over. You can make adjustments. I want to see a comp with some more teeth. I think we drafted 3 losing lanes. I might be. I don't know where we got our edge in draft. So let's look at the picks, because we've seen teams in the APL. They have really good bounce backs when they start to switch things up. Switch things up. Get back to comfort. Get back to basics. We haven't really seen much Twitch from Trash Panda in the APL before. We've seen a lot of Jhin. We've seen a really monstrous Aphelios performance, some Ashe, some Kaisa. Let's get on those kind of picks, and let's get ourselves that proactivity that we need from Yipsy.
All right, well, there you go. Let's go ahead and send it to a quick break, and then we'll be right back with some more League of Legends action here with the APL game number 2 on the horizon.
Clouds move closer, but with a deeper sweat. Oh, beneath them we look on. When they part comes the hatred they bring. Lost in the dark, we've come so far. Another step to rid the pain. Go and be counted till your last day. 'Cause only nightmares break their face. So stand upon these fallen lands. certain fate. And we'll make our final stand. Lost in the dark, we've come so far. Another step to rid the pain. Go and be counted till your last day. 'Cause only nightmares break their flames. So stand upon these fallen lands and follow in our Father's plans. Yeah, until the end we will remain, and we'll hold on until the last So stand upon these fallen lands and follow in our Father's plans. Yeah, until the end we will remain, and we'll hold on until our last
And we are here for game number 2. Game number 1, quite honestly, the Wolves ran away with it. And there is a respectful ban that we may or may not have expected in game number 1. Of course, this is going to put a little bit of a damper into some of the plans of Silly Goofy, but we know that they can still play a plethora of champions to round things out. The Garen's still banned away, though, so right now it is the Poppy or Syndra that may or may not be banned away, and it's the Aurora instead, which is surprising considering how rough the Aurora looked before.
Yeah, just making sure that Wolves can't grab that up for themselves. Reminder, the sides have remained the same. Conduit has elected to stay on blue side. So we're going to have to see what kind of comfort picks they're able to cook up for themselves to get themselves a little bit of a different look. We're thinking that Yipsy is saying, I can't play X champion because Milio is just so safe. The Wolves getting away with Milio, Zeri. It's really hard without some point and click options to really force on that side of the map. So Wolves just kind of got away with the scaling. So is Wukong going to be a series defining pick? Conduit is going to take it for themselves. Glada says, give me that. Give me the monkey.
I'm not sure it was defining, to say the least, but it is a nice shadow ban going against Yeonjun. So we'll see if the Wolves have anything else. And it looks like the Wolves are sending themselves and setting themselves up for a hyper scaling composition, and then they immediately pivot to the Kaisa. So, you know, deciding exactly where they want to go. This leads me to believe a Leona is going to come out here, which I don't think would be bad. You're looking at that dive, you're looking to get it to the backline and just annihilate anything that Conduit Regret has. I would actually appreciate that if a Leona was there.
Yeah, I wonder what they're going to pair the Kaisa with, if it is going to be that Leona. And again, it's Silly Goofy pulling out the range support, so it's going to be a Soraka. Do I have to worry about a Soraka flex? For now, I'm going to say no. I think Silly Goofy might be taking that into the bottom lane. Kai'Sa Soraka, not something we see together almost ever. So I'm very curious to see where the Wolves go with this one. If they just want stylistic champions that they deem OP for themselves, or that they've had success in scrims in the past. Seraphine priority is pretty high in the side of Merciful Crow in the mid lane. So Conduit saying Aurora was not our spicy pick. Let's go with something we've succeeded with in the past. And so far, Wukong Seraphine, that is terrifying.
It's one of those it's one of those problems of, oh boy, Kai'Sa, I'm sitting there going, Kai'Sa might be in some trouble. Either that, or you are banking on the fact that Silly Goofy is going to be roaming a lot more than we assume. Really needs to be around to make sure that you're set. And there is a Tarek to come out here. I actually really like this call because you have some safety descent with the Wukong still. I just haven't seen it played a whole lot, so I'm not sure how it's really going to work and if it's going to be proper here. So far though, a lot of safety and a lot of grouping up for Conduit Regrets this time around.
Yeah, it's puzzling because Tarek stylistically is good against Kai'Sa and Kai'Sa pairings, but Tarek loses to Soraka. So it's like this weird 80 carry support dynamic going on right now. Like the composition coming in, the shields and heals coming in, because the game was largely defined around team fights. There was not much side laning. There was not a whole lot of rotational skirmishing, macro, this kind of stuff. It was team fights. So if you're grabbing yourself a Seraphine, Wukong, Tarek early phase, that's setting you up for one hell of a team fight. Lilia is going to be the pick up the sort of jungle counter, known counter to Wukong, as we know Wukong's a very armor heavy champion with the passive. So Lilia is going to be a good pacing jungler to kind of cut through or ignore a lot of the passive value coming in from Wukong.
Let's see what they can do, and hopefully they have a little bit of a good time. For right now, though, this is going to be the draw of the champions once again. Syndra still taken out of the hands of Wisteria, and the triple ban on the top side. Instead of that Ornn, though, we are going to look a little bit silly. Do it right now. I want to see it. I don't think it's going to happen. We are looking at the Ahri to bring a little bit of that early game die potential in there. This is still very AP sided. So understandably, you're looking for setup more than anything else. If this is locked in, that would be a big piece.
Yeah,
but there's the Ornn and Malphite Hover. This, this makes it. Oh my God. Okay. There's the set.
So
there's the set.
I thought it was going to be Zoro picking on 4 as the top lane. Just stylistically, the Wolves like to run away with mid lane, and Wisteria plays 17 million different champions. So giving Wisteria R5 is a very strong win condition for the side of the Wolves. Are we going to see a set flex in this one? I don't know. Set is one of Zoro's. It's his second most played in the APL. He does really, really well on it. So what will Conduit Regrets grab for themselves? They need an 80 carry, and they need a top lane counter pick. It's going to be the Olaf. Speaking of heals and shields and the champion that benefits off of that one, the team fighting on the side of Conduit is still looking pretty scary. They need a little bit of range, though. So I wonder if we're going to pair this with maybe like a Jinx on B5 here.
There's so many things that we have to kind of consider here. If it is going to be that Jinx, it would be a nice one. Ashe is also still very much available. I know it might not be perfect.
Wow.
The Caitlyn.
Okay. Okay.
Oh boy. Oh boy. And the Sivir on the other end. What is going on here? Is that Kai'Sa mid?
No, I think it's Sivir mid. Right? Maybe it's Kai'Sa mid. I don't think you would ever. Caitlyn counters Sivir. I don't think you're ever locking Sivir into Caitlyn. So I think
that makes sense.
And when I look at the players, I think Mystic is more the Kai'Sa player, but again, it's Wisteria. We're gonna have to see what happens. But I could be getting my 80 carried matchups right now, but Caitlyn does so well into Sivir. So is it Sivir into the Seraphine mid? I think is maybe the angle. And the idea behind the pick is we're gonna overwhelm, we're gonna ignore all the team fight power that you guys have drafted with excess move speed, where you guys have a very melee heavy comp in the Olaf, Tarek, Wukong dynamic. Boomerang has a lot of value. So the Wolves have come out with one of the drafts of all time. Conduit trying to set them up for success here in game number 2. It is a very different look for them. I think I like it more than the previous composition. They don't have a ton of holes in it. They have a lot of go buttons, a lot of agency throughout the game. So they have set themselves up for success, in my opinion, to bounce back here from game number 1.
All right, well, we'll have to see what they do. Honestly, I don't want to dive too far into the breakdown until we know where all the champions are going, because I mean, we're getting spicy with it. And I love every single moment of it. Please do not go anywhere. We'll be right back with live game number 2 between Conduit Regret and Blue Saber Wolves Dawn. Don't go anywhere.
There's way more to avenge. Oh, 50 million souls live in this realm without much hope. Not too long ago, this kingdom was a golden state of hope.
And we are here as we get a little bit of a surprise. Jordan, I know you were saying that you think it's Saber mid, but we have been bamboozled.
Wait a minute. So it's going to be the Wisteria Kaisa flex last second R5 going to the way of Mystic on the Sivir. Okay, so I can see it through the lens of we've got double range bot lane, therefore we can get the push on Caitlyn, and then maybe Caitlyn is a little bit stifled. Yipsy electing for the exhaust again instead of the ignite into a Soraka. I do not like that. But we talked about it before. Conduit have drafted themselves a very different looking composition stylistically. If these games are going to be decided around team fights, draft yourself the best damn team fight comp you can.
I think that's what they're hoping for here. Main thing as well, top side is going to be a drastically different look. These are not tanks in there is what I really do want to point out. At some points, Weez and Ronar Zoro were quite literally just hitting each other with wet noodles. This time, the noodles have been cemented together, and it's going to hurt. If Weez gets a lead, Ronar Zoro is going to be in trouble. If Zoro gets a lead, Weez might be in trouble as well. There are all these little pieces to the puzzle that we really do need to watch out for. With that being said, we get the start of this game. It's Glada on that Wukong starting out on their blue buff, and then of course Yeonjun doing the same to theirs.
Yeah, the 3-0 Weez effect, showing up to team fights and going down, not able to really generate anything with the lead that he gave himself or worked so hard to build himself, limiting when you're on Cassante, and on the Olaf this time around, the health bars are already very, very low. Oh, actually, Zoro's already flashed away. So he's going to try and lick his wounds on that one. Wave is coming into him. I don't think Weez can dive, but we're going to have to keep an eye out for that one. Glada starting on this side of the map, going to be clearing down, and it's a mirrored start. The Lilia is starting bot side, clearing up.
It always does hurt to see that type of top side go down. I mean, I think I've watched a couple games this week where it's just like, and anyone that's played League knows that topside is one of the worst ones to get behind in certain trade patterns. There's just a feeling of, if you're a good lane opponent, you will get bullied out. Like, there is no way for you to really come back in a situation. And that's what I'm going to be very, very curious about. If Ronar Zoro, after losing that flash early, are they going to be able to come back in a pretty comfortable pattern? Or are you going to have to concede and wait for your jungler to come up and help out? So far, though, it says no, as that's a flash out by Weez. We're literally just talking about them, and both top lanes are just in a pickle. And now you have to be a little bit worried because Yeonjun is roaming their way around. That is going to be a ward. So Weez is actually still staying. It was on top of a ward. You were on top of a ward, and that was first blood. Weez does not respect Yeonjun, and Zoro gets a freebie.
Zoro getting a freebie there, finding the edge in this volatile top lane matchup. Weez not respecting jungle at all and burns the ghost last second, so isn't able to even ghost back to lane, isn't able to hold any meaningful cooldowns. The wave state for him is a little bit forgivable, but really not what you like to see. Conduit need to rely on Weez to be strong in this game. Not off to a great start.
Nope. It's a problem, and remember, for that comp, you really want to be on your A game here. Merciful Crow, though, dancing on the edge is actually going to allow Glada to try and get a little bit of punch down, but Wisteria now getting slowed down, has to try and eat out, which I think you will, but has to burn the flash very quickly. Thanks to the extra auto attacks of Merciful Crow, you force Wisteria completely out of lane, which is going to give the scuttle to the way of Conduit Regret.
That was a really good gank opportunity from Glada. Looked like a 2v2 option, and then just coming out the better of it. Wisteria cannot play this well, this consistently, without taking some risks. So I think one of the risks just got punished. Burns the flash, has to base, take a bad base, and burn the TP. Are things going to quiet down for the Kaisa with call into the Seraphine? I would think so. But again, these two teams are gearing up for one hell of a team fight phase in the game.
I think it's just going to be very, very scary to see who actually comes out on top on that one. Keep in mind on this bot side, we're not seeing the extended lead that we expected. Silly Goofy has actually done a really good job on the mana management, which is surprising. I actually wonder if they're running the precision tree, which does allow for that regen on the mana every time you deal damage to someone, because you saw them spamming that Q earlier. And normally spamming Q would lead to mana deficits. And no, they're feeling pretty good. So we'll see how that one plays out. Of course, on the top side, Weez is like, I feel I know this song and dance before. It's almost like deja vu gonna occur.
Yeah, he's in quite the awful predicament. Glada is heading towards that bot side of the map, maybe electing for an early dragon take, which is really not what Olaf is going to care about. Olaf needs a lot of gold really, really fast. So looks like he's dodged this gank timer by playing respectful enough despite being down the summoners. So the question is going to be, and yeah, it looks like the situation with the bot lane is maybe Caitlyn counters Saber, or maybe it's close. But as we talked about before, Soraka definitely does very well into Taric, and even more so a Taric without Ignite. So I don't like the summoner choice on the side of the Yipsy. Very limited kill pressure onto Silly Goofy. Without that, because the thought of a Taric stun into a trap combo, you got a meaningful amount of damage there that you can put forth onto Soraka, but not being able to threaten lethal is going to be a problem for them.
It's a problem overall, and it's a problem possibly later on down the line. Right now, Glada is, of course, going to take this dragon, and it's an ocean, which is amazing to have here at the start. You get a little extra regen in the laning phase that I think is really going to help out Trash Panda and Weez in terms of how hard they want to trade out. You can already see Weez just like, yep, let's go ahead, throw down a little bit of pain and a little bit of damage. But of course, it's all about how much CS are you going to get. I want to also point out Wisteria is going for a heavy farm build. The Cole being brought in against Merciful Crow, just being like, yo, I am going to be a giant pain in the butt for you. Weez, of course, on the top side, level 6, doesn't want to fight a level 7 set, which I respect.
Showing some restraint right there. One thing that I just couldn't help but noticing on the screen is the June elected to go for the wrong item component. Faded Ashes is absolutely the jungle item that you want right now that helps Lilia accelerate over the competition in terms of clear speed. The Haunting Guys pickup is questionable at best. Doesn't really provide the same oomph or level of power that the Faded Ashes would, because you really want that Lilia to be strong in this game. You want them to be able to generate a camp lead over this Wukong. Speed clearing the jungle is one of the reasons you pick this champion, and it looks like Weez's wave is heading the unsafe direction.
I love how we say that about an Olaf of all things, and honestly, it's like, it's so true. Weez is just, you're not happy that the wave can bounce this easily, and you're not able to really take over that top lane as much as you would like. Yes, you were put into a position where you got the counter pick and you have that ability to do so, but that early kill has kind of scared you. You're in a situation where you can't really have an easy time, and because that pink ward is down inside of the river, even Glada can't really come up to help if things go sideways. So at this point, it feels like we're kind of back at square one for game one. Everyone is playing kind of quietly. No one wants to cause too much of a problem. And I love the fact that you mentioned that we're gearing up towards that team fight, because it feels like that's exactly where both teams want to go at. They just want to go straight back to the team fight and not worry about the laning phase as much.
Yeah, it's funny. We thought game one was a little bit slow. Game two is even slower. Not too much action to be had. Trading waves. These opponents, you can see, you kind of feel the tension building. Game number two, neither team wants to slip up. Wolves want to build on that momentum that they had, so look for them to make another very decisive, very snap decision. But the engage is a little bit more limited. If Zoro is stuck in that side lane, having a Kaisa, Sivir, Soraka combo isn't really gonna be coming through. So if we can find a good Taric ultimate on the side of Conduit, good Seraphine ultimate, we could be looking at Conduit maybe developing a bit of a snowball for themselves.
I think they can do so if they put their minds to it. One of the things that we had mentioned before is the fact that they felt very lenient on how hard they wanted to fight, how often they wanted to get aggressive, and that was almost their downfall at points. Mainly on the top side, though, we're seeing that song and dance again. Zoro is jumping in, but that's the killer instinct that we love to watch. And Wisteria says, yo, I got that cross map play. Well done in the pick thread, and Weez is down for the second time.
Oh my god, you said Wisteria? I thought you misspoke. I thought that was Wolves jungler. That's the mid laner moving up. Like, oh my god, it's gonna feel so bad if you're Weez. A Soraka heal coming through, then the mid laner's in my lane. Like, he's just trying to play his 1v1, guys.
He just wants to do Olaf things. That's all he wants to do, and he's not allowed to. So far, it is bringing a lead. Now, on the bot side, Trash Panda and Yipsy have been able to kind of force their way into this tower, and this is exactly what a Caitlyn and a Taric want to do. Now, the problem is they haven't been able to stop the CSing out of Mystic, and that is something that you really hope that you could have done. So, you know, 3 plates, nothing to shy at, but it's definitely not the oppressive style that we always assume is going to go down. That is going to be a stun into a trap to get some decent damage.
A lot of damage.
Triple headshot, but actually it was only a double, so it didn't actually do as much as they would hope. So Mystic is still going to be able to fight back. Silly Goofy most likely going to be able to heal that back up if they can land a Q.
Yeah, and Trash Panda and Yipsy are actually headed home because they are sitting on a lot of gold. So they're kind of at the end of their sort of tempo here in the bottom lane, so that's not going to amount to much. But again, like, you question, are they really getting that much value out of this exhaust summoner spell? What are you worried about, or are you just holding that for a mid game? Because they've had 3 opportunities to use Ignite by now, right? At the 11-minute mark.
I think so, yeah. They've done pretty well.
Yep, not looking. It's fine. It's fine. We're playing for team fight. So, Dragon number 2 is on the table. It looks like Conduit are very interested. The Wukong's going to burn the clone there, so he is taking a small risk here, but maybe just reading the recalls properly from the side of the Wolves and not being too concerned with that. Bot lane prio on the side of Conduit as Caitlyn gets to lane first. So it's looking better and better. 2 dragons secured up for Conduit will be really nice. You do see Lilia leaving base now. Will she elect to go for that 6 grub take, or are Conduit going to have something to say about it?
Well, I'm not too sure, but for right now, we're seeing that TP go to the top side. It is Hextech Soul to play for. Oh boy. My favorite, because it means the gate's going to be real silly with it. But at the current moment, it is going to be that slow burn. The Wolves are going to go ahead and take away all 6 of the Grublings. And that one's going to feel real nice for any push that they want to run. That is going to be a Scryer's Bloom showing off, or a Scryer's Lens spotting out 1, but that also means bot side could get dove here. Wish is up and available. Same with the On the Hunt. So Mystic and Silly Goofy have a lot to mess around with. So I don't know if they actually want to dive this one. You can see Glada like hesitating, wondering if they can actually do this one. They have the Cosmic Radiance, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. So how do you want to work this one? It's just go ahead and try and steal away a couple camps.
Yeah, the Wolves seem to be addicted to picking themselves these super safe, super uninteractive bot lanes, and it seems to be going pretty well for themselves. Kind of, you'd think it's a bit of a disrespect, saying, we dare you. That seems to be the conversation they've been having throughout the APL. We dare you to pick something that can punish our Milio, or in this case, our Soraka. We're just going to free scale. So as of right now, they are up in lane, and that's kind of where you want to be. Like, the CS is favored. Caitlyn's got her plates, but the Wolves are looking pretty good.
I think for right now, they're looking much more than good. They're on track to have just this quiet start to the game. Every single move that has been made so far has been in their wheelhouse. They haven't lost too much. They're still on track to possibly get first tower, or lose out on first tower, but that's about it. And they're just going to try and punish Weez again. Rona Zoro being given a lot of freedom to play with here on the top side is something that I was not expecting. I know you go ahead and grab that first blood as well as extra, and you're giving a lot on the bot side for it. But overall, it's yielded value, and I don't want to say I'm worried. I don't think I am. But Conduit regrets not making an actual proactive move so far. I'm not sure if that's exactly where they want to be.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit awkward when you're playing Wukong. I mean, both junglers have yet to use their ultimate. It's 14 minutes right now, so maybe both teams are just being super respectful and haven't really found a reason to deviate from their current plan. Conduit is saying, okay, we're chilling. We've got a nutty team fight comp, and we've got 2 dragons under our belt. That's going to feel really nice. On the side of the Wolves, we've got the gold. We've got 6 grubs. So I think the pressure in this game is about to mount.
Of course, how far is that going to bend? How much pressure is going to be there? Yeonjun has also been very quiet. 0-0 and 0. Just looking to finish up all their camps and get that 1200 smite. Glada is going to do the exact same, as this is going to be Herald to bust the game wide open. And for how bloody the APL can be in the regular season, this is as quiet as it can be. Those 2 deaths on the top side might as well have been an anomaly, as even the boomerangs are just like, yeah, we're chilling, we're just farming out, we're just ensuring that you don't get too much. Neither team wanting to make that mistake right now.
Yeah, the carries of the Wolves are saying we have no reason to, we have limited tools, and we're all farming 10 CS a minute basically. So feeling pretty good about that one. Even CS in the jungle. Not too much else to talk about, but the dragon is coming up in a minute 20. So you're going to keep your eyes on Conduit. They're really going to want to push the envelope. Where their team comp can thrive is in those bot lane river fights where they can get multi-man Seraphine ultis, the Cyclone coming down, and I can tell all these players are really feeling the pressure. They're feeling antsy, so they want this 3rd dragon to be the clear answer of this is when we go, this is when we make our stand.
I think another thing that I'm also going to be looking at is how well do the players know their champions and the enemy champions. Because when you don't team fight for a long time, even though you kind of know power spikes and everything, it's actually quite difficult to tell exactly who has what damage output. It's like you haven't limit tested, or stat checked is what I like to call it. You haven't stat checked anyone just yet, so it's a very dangerous position. Ballistic and Silly Goofy though are about to be in a situation where they are not going to enjoy themselves, but they have the safety. That's a flash forward. You're able to find that pick. Silly Goofy though able to get that wish down, but you are caught and dead. Glada is more than okay. Silly Goofy will pay the price of that engagement, and that'll also lead to first tower for Conduit Regret.
This is actually a huge power play from Conduit Regrets to break the first tower, and that death timer is going to bleed into the dragon spawn. So this could be a 3rd dragon here for Conduit. It looks like the Wolves, I wonder if the Wolves are going to have to pull Zoro from the top lane and sort of make their stand here, or if they're comfortable going against a potential Hex Tech Soul. Conduit Esports collecting potentially soul point for themselves here as early as 17 minutes, Orbital.
Not sure if I like how quiet it's been now. Conduit Regrets slowly building up the forces, and they're feeling pretty dang good. The one move that they made has yielded massive results, and now they get to look towards that mid lane with the first tower taken at 16 minutes, by the way. 16 minutes! Super long time. We are now going to see action across the rift. Top side might go down as well as Rona Zoro looking to take that top side tower. I don't think Weez is going to be there to save it in time.
Yeah, this is sort of where a lot of the moving puzzle pieces are going to start shifting. So because the bot lane tower has fallen, Caitlyn's home is now mid lane. She can farm that wave safely, which means there's just going to be support roams on support roams. I like to think that Taric is favored in the roams, just for having that stun, the CC, the surprise factor from a bush. So if he can link up with Glada and they can find some pockets of vision to operate out of, I like to think that they can maybe find and surprise some of the Wolves.
A little bit of a question here: is Blade of the Rune King the right build for a set? Is that what you're supposed to build right now?
When you're side lane set, yes, I can probably say that pretty confidently. I do know that Blade just got nerfed. However, yeah, I think it's just the set thing. I think he's just going to play side lane, and he feels like he needs to be a damage threat in this game. I don't think the Wolves are lacking damage, but as you see, the Wolves are sort of sectioning off this bot lane tower. Seraphine not known for her side lane ability or ability to catch waves. Beyond just catching them, so it looks like Wisteria is going to open up even a greater gold lead for himself.
Which is weird to say, because right now it feels like Conduit Regret have everything in their own. They're down in gold, but up in this kind of objective play. Yes, they're down in the grubs factor, but they feel like they're in much more control than others. However, Yeonjun goes in. It's only a double sleep though, and now you're in danger. You're actually going to be killed. Conflict Radiance comes down to save everyone. Wisteria can't fight this. You're going to go ahead and Killer Instinct out, but you're now going to leave Mystic in a really rough spot. In goes the Encore to catch one, and it's just that simple. Conduit Regret find the wolves sleeping and put them down.
Great team fight. A Conduit coming back here in game number 2. They have something to say. They have a song that has not been sung, and looking really, really good here. They've grasped the gold back to within 1,000. 3 dragons under the belt, with the next one coming up in 2 minutes, right after a team fight win. That's going to feel really good. The Wolves sort of overplayed their hand. They got the side lane play, but then when you group up and you take on the 4-man that was Conduit, or excuse me, I think 5-man, because Weez was there, the team fight does not favor you at that point. But here comes Zoro.
Boy, Ronar Zoro wants in. This is a flash angle, but he's a little bit slow. You can see how slow he actually takes to get there. And yes, there are no ultimates to work with. I'm not sure if this is a catch that you want. Wisteria actually TP'd in as well, so they're going to try and collapse in on this one. And because no ultimates and it's right at Baron, if you get these kills, it could be big. In goes a huge mid-carry, and it's a showstopper to bring about death. Wisteria in the back line, looking to get some kills, and the burn is there. Look at that 4-proc plus the Acathian Rain. It'll bring a double and a double. A 2-pair to Baron. Wolves come out with a nasty team fight win.
Orbital, what just happened here? Conduit Esports grasped control of the game, and the Wolves spun them around, took the game right back, send 4 of them back to spawn, and take Baron number 1.
It feels like Conduit Regret went for a little bit too much. They didn't respect the timers, and I was wondering where that pinch was going in from. Yipsy unfortunately was only able to save really no one, as they let themselves get show stopped into the rest of the team. And this now leads me to another question, because as the Wolves are starting to come awake, they are actually forced into a situation where their next moves are actually predictable. Yes, they can team fight well, but how well can they team fight when everything of theirs is noticed? Because the dragon is going to be up in just about 50 seconds, and that gives Conduit Regrets a lot of information to work with.
It's going to be, this dragon is going to be a bit of a magnet that's going to try and pull all 10 players to it. So you see Zoro already pushing that top lane, trying to establish a pressure point that the Wolves can play on. The Baron buff is going to help a tremendous amount. If Conduit can somehow squeeze this dragon, if Wukong can sneak over and go for a bit of a steal angle, and they can secure this Hextech Soul, that is exactly what Conduit needs to grasp control of this mid game. The items are coming through really fast for the Wolves, and the game is in dire straits.
I think overall, we can see those picks come through as well. The Wolves are just hunting for a chance to get some damage. Mystic is sitting on 2 items, by the way. Keep that one in mind. 2 items from Trash Panda, just 1.5. And the Caitlyn is in kind of that power trough area. So I'm really looking at the Cosmic Radiance. I want to see those ultimates up and played for. Top laners, of course, Ronar Zoro has that TP available if they need to bring it in, and I think that's going to be the big call down. Glada may look for a steal attempt. Might be the big play. There's a TP coming in here. They have to pull off. There is no chance for Weez to really come in. And this is going to be Dragon taken very easily. That is the, I want to say, Summoner Spell advantage the Wolves have gained themselves.
I completely agree. The Wolves showing really strong teamwork in a moment that they need the most. The game was looking, honestly, Conduit favored. You could easily say that after that massive team fight win over by the mid lane tier 2 tower. And then the Wolves said, now's our stand. They did a cross map chase, and then suddenly we're in the Wolves realm again.
I'm not exactly sure where to go from here for the teams. I mean, there are no objectives. Obviously, this is going to be a push factor. But Conduit Regret, after they made those early moves, it feels like they're just playing on the back foot, which against a Baron you do have to do. You have to make sure that you're going to get the items, but you're bleeding out a tower now, as that is a lot of work that Zoro has put into the top side, who, by the way, is 3-0-3. We haven't really talked about that one. Zoro is a threat in their own right that nobody can really step up to unless you're bringing a buddy.
Yeah, I think a lot of the Conduit's power right now is in that Seraphine with the ability to group. So you see Wisteria occupying the bot lane and Zoro occupying the top lane. That's an attempt to generate this pressure and force Merciful Crow into that side lane situation where he's just catching wave and not accomplishing anything meaningful. The neutrals are slowly coming back up. Baron in 2.5 minutes there. So the next available team fight or time where you're going to have a bunch of champions on your screen is approximately there. So question is going to be, is Zoro just going to keep taking these side lane towers? I want to see either Zoro or Wisteria need to pressure that bot lane tier 2 tower, because again, that's still so much gold available on the map. You've got 7k gold lead and the mid lane tower has not even fallen yet.
I'm getting a little bit scared as well of the fact that we are getting into that late game territory. This is around the time that both teams have been able to close out games in the past when we've seen them play, and yet we've already broken through. I think game 1 was 31 minutes. Is either side truly favored once again in the late game angle, or is this going to be, you know, just a, hey, whoever comes out in a team fight win gets a team fight win?
That's actually a really good question, because Seraphine is sort of like a team fight goddess, but then on the other side you've got a Soraka. A lot of carries on both sides, so I can't give the edge to any one side. I'm looking at the items to tell me, is Saber going to kind of cut through all 5 members at once, because that's totally within her realm, or is that Caitlyn damage around a nice combination? So you're gonna have to look for the Wukong Cyclone, the Encore, and then the Caitlyn Trap. Is that going to 100-0 somebody in a surprise, or if Wolves can find that scattered fight, that's where I think they have the edge.
Let's see. But the Wolves can put that theory to test and arrest, of course. Hyunjin, of course, trying to make their own kind of situation feared, as they themselves at a 0-1-2 stance have not exactly had the most impactful game like they had in game number 1. Again, Wisteria was the main kind of talking point previously, but Hyunjin was there with this, with the Wukong. On the Lily, though, hasn't really found a seedling, hasn't found the all-empowering flash Q. It's been a fairly quiet game so far, and just trying to power farm. I mean, you are up about 30 CS, so, you know, already have those 2 items in hand. But we're still waiting for that kind of moment that breaks this game open, and it feels like it's one of those very slow burn situations that we might just be sitting here going, okay, we're gonna wait. We can all go home, read a book, you know, chill out for a bit before the big boom at the end. You know, 35 minutes into the game.
Yeah, given the current layout of the map, hang on, Wisteria might be going for a wave that he's not allowed to.
I mean, this just feels like an angry choice. That's going to be a very, very nice killer instinct, but you're up against way too many people. And the exhaust comes down even to save out Merciful Crow. That's just death. Of course, Baron on the other side is being taken, so it's a very nice reactionary call.
Yeah, you're actually right. So Conduit were playing on the side, and it looked like Wisteria was absolutely greeting there, because I thought Dragon was going to be the focus, but Baron is actually going to be secured by the Wolves, and once again, they just snatch back momentum in such a moment.
I'm not sure if they really like this one. Wish is actually going to be used, but that's still a death on the back end. Body block by everyone. Mystic is still alive. And in goes a little bit of showstopper before the Cosmic Radius can come down. It is going to hold, but there's only so many members that it keeps up. There's going to be a jump in. Hyunjin trying to chase the back line, but Trash Panda is still very much alive. In comes another stun as they land, and Merciful Crow is alive as well. A nice cue to slow everyone down, and Silly Goofy is keeping the rest of the members alive. Baron is still available, but now you have to chase, because take a look at what is available. It is going to be the Dragon, but take a look at where the top lane currently is. Wolves being saved by the fact that there is a wave pressuring, and tops only Trash Panda and Yipsy are going towards this Drake.
Wisteria TP'd into the bot lane. Tribrush is going to scout Trash Panda and Yipsy, so they aren't going to be able to secure the soul for themselves. They do have to wait on some spawn timers. Zoro is here.
I think they got this. No, they're going to start it up. Oh, no.
Do you have your
really, really hate this.
Not? Oh, this is so scary.
I hate this, because take a look at who's coming through the teleport. You know this is scary. I don't know if you actually want to do this.
Yeah, okay. They're learning.
We had a flashback to game 1, by the way. We had a flashback to game 1.
Glad was just going to roll in there and say, thanks for the leash, Jungle Diff.
Jungle Diff with no jungler on the other side is such a flex.
Exactly. So the Wolves are going to flex their muscles. Zoro looking for more.
Oh, that's a problem. UFC has nothing. Flash forward by Ronar Zoro. Huge encore, but it's a little bit too late. Glado going straight into the back line, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. Mystic be able to flash away with Syria straight to the back line, but I think you're only a distraction. That's going to be a kill onto Mystic, as that's another king on the back side. What a play! With Syria brings a whistle whimsy to the game as the Wolves take 4.
Syria going 1v3, absolutely crazy in the backline. Finds 2 before going down once again. That is what you want from your mid laner. The Wolves able to clean up the team fight on the back end. As we talked about in game number 1, there's not a single moment in the game you can say that the Wolves are disjointed. Wisteria had that side lane play that we thought was a mistake, but the Wolves are just taking Baron on the other side. They're going to get another soul denial. Weeze is going to have to slink his way out of this one. He does actually get ulted. Going to have to flash. Does he go down? I don't think so.
No. I think at this point, you're just trying to run him away. It's just like you don't want him to get dragon, right? That's all Zoro's doing.
Yeah. So the Wolves are checking all their boxes, making sure that there's no soul available for Conduit. Conduit did such a good job getting 3 dragons, and then it all fell apart around that 4th dragon. 2 Barons under the belt of the Wolves means they are so much stronger. They are so much more powered up than their opponents. And when you're looking at 2 team compositions that do very similar things, we've got the bigger stick.
That is true. We have the bigger stick, and we sing and shout loudly. That is going to be the big part about it. Weeze, though, I'm gonna be waiting to see if they actually have a lot of punishment coming out here. They're still waiting to complete their second item, whereas take a look on the other side. Zoro is just like, hey, I got 2 drills to work with, and I'm going to pile drive all of your towers into dust. That is terrifying to think about, by the way. A set that can run through, if you give him just like half an inch in one of the lanes, is a terrifying thought to deal with right now. Mid lane is still up, by the way, on the side of Conduit of Regret. It has not been taken down. Trash Panda has been guarding it fiercely. They have been able to grab their second item, so waiting for that third is going to be a big part. But overall, it's just pieces, as a Boomerang does so much more here.
Yeah, you got the Vamp Scepter and the anti-heal item. It's just not really coming together for Trash Panda. He needs to get a lot more under his belt. You're looking at the side of Saber, where 3.5 completed items, just so much damage on that side. So momentum in the hands of the Wolves. Conduit are licking their wounds, getting some good recalls off. They are starting to get some of those items. You just saw the Mortal Reminder completed for the Caitlyn. So we are going to be hitting a little bit harder on that front, but the Wolves, the Soraka healing is something that they're going to have to deal with.
I mean, yeah, no one's really paid that tax except for Trash Panda, but that's not the... I will say that's not normally the champion that you want it on. Normally you don't want it on the ADC, but right now Trash Panda is like the only one you can really utilize it well. Of course, Weeze has their own, but they opted for the more defensive option of the Bramble Vest, so it's like, is it really going to be worth? I don't know. We'll see. For right now, though, we are just watching the collective slow down, and the Wolves are just like, hey, we got time to play for. Baron is currently up. We can utilize that to break through, and then we can cause a little bit of chaos. Over the wall, though, could be a big part, as Mystic is kind of left on their own. Huge auto attacks is actually going to slow them down. That's a good call down. Very nicely done by Trash Panda and Yipsy. Of course, on the other side, it is going to be a little bit of a show. You can see with that long-range sight line, thanks to those oracles and just being able to see about how far you want to go. The scrying is just doing so much work for Trash Panda to get the autos down.
Yeah, you're starting to see when Trash Panda does end up critting, the damage is definitely there. This Caitlyn is past the mid-game trough where you really don't want to be. Gonna feel pretty good there. Weeze is bleeding in the side lane though, so it's gonna add another layer of pressure onto Conduit to kind of get that team fight, the dream angles that they also need, because Zoro is knocking on the doors of your base and you're on a bit of a timer here. Baron is now spawned.
I mean, the timer's, I think, rolling for just about everyone right now, and the only reason that this game has not gotten out of control is I think it's primarily because the Wolves have not drafted a designated tank outside of set. It's just like, it's actually kind of difficult, if I do say so myself, of this 4-man squad actually jumping in. Yipsy and Glada run so much interference, that's why it's taken forever. However, bot side tower is going to go down here. This is going to be a call down of both ultimates from the top laners, which means even if they enter in, it's going to be a whole chance. Nice little route onto Mystic. as that was a little bit slow on the shield. But again, it's just clearing the waves, and it feels like the Wolves. Okay, so I was saying this before. When you have a lead, I want to see you close it out. Yes, the Wolves have not had a lead for a majority share of the game, but this does actually scare me that they're taking this long to try and finish the game.
Yeah, I mean, when in doubt, believe in the Wolves. They're so good at getting it done. Wisteria finding an angle there. Really low risk with the Verdant Barrier, or sorry, the Banshee's Veil completed now, but it looks like a silent Baron start is actually on the menu for the Wolves. How fast are they going to be able to cut this? And are Conduit going to have any kind of response? It looks like it's just gone.
That's actually one of the fun parts of the Baron. With the 3 different Baron variations, the walls also can give you a lot of coverage, and I really like that situation. You go ahead, take it away, it's so easy, and now you gotta wait for another breath of fresh air. Wisteria TP'd in though, as the rest of the team is here, and that Pre-Seeker was like, yo, I know everyone is there. This Dragon though is so important. It's a 5-man situation. This is where all the fights have been at last time. Wisteria running on the back end might be a little bit one to watch. That's gonna be a flash forward. Only hits one. Yeonjun might actually be dead, and that's a situation you don't want to be in. A huge encore into the Conduit. It keeps everyone alive. And this might be the chance for Conduit. Regrets. They are rushing to try and get these kills, but they are actually very, very low. In goes the showstopper. How much damage are they actually going to get? No one else wants to join, and that's going to be a win for Conduit. Regrets as they finally find the team fight win.
It's going to take the 6th dragon of the game, but it looks like Conduit are gonna win that oh so crucial team fight. They don't have any pushing waves though, so we're not thinking about any kind of base breaking or end angles right now. But it is such a breath of fresh air. Down 8,000 gold on the side of Conduit, and they win a team fight, acing the enemy team.
This game is going on so long, but the control that Conduit Regret currently has is monumental. We see when given the opportunity, when they are allowed to play their composition how they wish, which is very tactical, very tight-knit, it does yield results. And that is now the second time that Yeonjun has actually had a lot of trouble entering into the fray.
Yeah, you're right. I wanna commend, like, the Wukong Seraphine ulti was really nice, but Taric is not the easiest champion. Like, when it comes to ult usage, like, you press R and you have to have the forethought in League of Legends to say, I know what's gonna happen in 2.5 seconds and in the following 2.5 seconds, therefore that's why I'm pressing my R, right? So he pressed it, and it actually just had so much of an effect. I saw the blinking health bars on the side of Conduit, and that was just enough time for Seraphine to get that empowered shield off. The healing comes through. All of Conduit are still breathing, and they're able to secure the objective. They're able to secure the team fight win, and Trash Panda got that 1,000 gold shutdown. And now look at the 80 carry items. It's basically anyone's game at this point.
As much as we want to say it's anyone's game, Conduit Regret are like, okay, we know it works. That's the big thing for them. They know it works. They know they can get a dub, and that's going to be the big calling card. It's going to be on the Wolves to try and break them apart, but we need to see some proactivity. Even though Conduit Regret are able to make it work, they need to be the proactive factor. They need to be willing to break things in. We have hit 18, level 18 for Zoro, level 18 on the rest of the field as well. The only one that's not is Silly Goofy. That is wild to see, by the way. It's been a while since I've seen a full squad hit level 18 in a competitive game. Normally games are over by about 25-26 minutes.
37 and counting here in the APL. And I want to highlight game number 2 here. Conduit winning that team fight. If they're able to close out game number 2, they're actually going to have full momentum in the series. So I want to stress how important these moments are. You don't want to be the one to make that mistake, but you do need to be the one to find that dream team fight angle. Eyes on Glada when he's close and on the same screen as Merciful Crow. Because if they can roll up all of the Wolves into one big wombo combo again, we are looking at Conduit taking game number 2.
Jordan, I'm not going to lie, I don't know who's going to come out with the victory. I really do not know who's going to come out with the victory, because both teams have also made exceptional mistakes. They've stepped up a little bit too far. They've forced a fight here and there. That is the most ballsy ace in the hole I've ever seen, by the way. Everyone feels like they have every ability up. Trash Panda literally walked up, down smash. That's all they did. That was a wild ace in the hole. And it does, by the way.
This is what happens when you show up too early for dodgeball class. Trash Panda says, like, I want to show off my movement. Just go ahead and throw 13 Kaisa W's and a bunch of bowling balls at me, and I'm going to dodge every single one. So I don't understand why, but he's doing a great job.
I don't know what's going on right now. Like, this is also a really rough symptom sometimes of teams not knowing how to close out a game and how to bring a fight to a game as well. Like, you can see this hard stalling. Everyone's kind of waiting for the other team to make that big mistake, and that's not a good situation to be in. And this is something that maybe we can break down later if it does become a true problem. But when both teams are sitting at this level 17, level 18 angles, neither side has had that definitive victory, and you start to doubt yourself a lot of the time. And I think that is not a good state of mind to be in.
Yeah, my eyes are on Trash Panda and Glada once again, trying to find that Wukong engage, but also keeping an eye on Trash Panda. If he can find that rapid fire auto onto a priority target and he does crit, that could be Conduit's sort of go button right there. So I like to see the posturing right now. They are occupying the mid lane, and just kind of, if something explosive could happen, we're ready, and I kind of like that. But Wisteria finding a little bit of a side lane opportunity to try to get that push out. More recalls coming through. We're kind of edging toward the idea of a full build on some of the carries there. We got Baron spawning in 12 seconds. We've got Elder spawning in a minute. So if you weren't watching before, make sure you're watching now. We are at the edge of our seats here as the tension is continuing to boil.
Are we gonna get the infamous selling of the boots? I gotta ask you, do you think we're gonna see someone have so much gold that they get that they have to sell their boots for another item?
Well,
I've not seen that in forever, by the way.
Zephyr's in the game now, so I'm a little curious to see if we're gonna see one of those.
Oh my god.
I don't know where it stands in the items.
Wait.
Conduit taking a run at them, but it looks like they're split. Zoro is just split pushing in the bottom lane. What is happening?
Zoro was given freedom? What? Zoro was given so much freedom to take an inhibitor for free, and that's going to open up the rest of this map as well. Good stun, though, as Redemption comes in to try and save Wisteria. Yeonjun flashing in to try and get the ward, but you flash into the 3! Oh, disaster strikes runner. Zoro heading over on the other side. Gets bopped on the back of the head, exhausted as well. What a disaster for the side of the Wolves. You got one thing, but you lost 3 instead. Glada diving into the back. Huge cyclone to break up the rest of the team fight, but you're too far forward, and instead, everyone loses out. Another Praesinger goes out, flash away, silly Goofy can't run fast enough, and Mystic Wisteria can't do anything because this is an Olaf. That, my friends, is going to be GG as Conduit regret chase down mid lane.
Wait, eyes on Mystic, he's gonna cut the wave.
He's gonna try his best to cut this wave, but I mean, are you going to do enough? You go ahead and push forward. Remember that bot side is now crushing as well, and everyone has to recall, but look what is available. It is gonna be Elder to play for right now, and that's the most terrifying feat.
Is Mystic going to try and find an isolated member, or is he just going to push minions into the base? It looks like Elder is going over to Conduit. Conduit kind of dropping the ball a little bit there, not escorting the wave. I do believe that would have been an end angle for Conduit, but Mystic taking the game into his own hands despite all of the Wolves going down. And for the first time this series, I can say that Conduit are showing better team fight, cleaner engagements than their opponents.
This game is so elongated. It is to that break point where literally one misstep could cost everything. Baron is now going to be burned very, very quickly. This is the price you pay. Conduit regret say, okay, we know we give this up, but we have Elder. We can annihilate you if given the chance. And for the first time, it looks like Conduit regret are actually going to be pushing down this mid lane. Trash Panda with a nasty shield up right now. With that Bloodthirster, it's just like, yo, I can do whatever I want. Glada going to step up as well.
Minute 30 left on this Elder buff, and the amount of wave clear coming in from Saber means this is absolutely not going to be the final song sung in this game. Conduit do not have what it takes on the field at the moment. They are going to have to pull out another team fight win, and they're also going to have to get these side lanes under control because Zoro can side lane on his own. Wisteria, we've seen side lane on his own as well. So we're going to have to see the teams jockey for control. Once again, we are in an absolutely dead even game. I don't care what the gold is. The soul is on one side, the gold is on the other, but whoever performs the best out of these two teams in the next fight is going to decide the game.
And honestly, my eyes are on Yeonjun. If Yeonjun can find an amazing lilting lullaby, like a speaker level 1, it can be amazing. If you can't, your champion's pretty much under the water. We have to remember, Yeonjun is sitting at a 1, 4, and 5, has had next to zero impact. And I hate saying that because Yeonjun has been so good in the recent games that we've seen. So right now, I'm actually a little bit scared. I have not seen Yeonjun really perform well on the Lilia, and that might be Conduit Regret just playing really dang well in their own right, playing around this Lilia, making sure that they can't enter. But I'm just sitting here going, okay, what is next? And I love the fact that we call it down. You called it out earlier. The Zephyr is currently in the game now. Both running, they are both full build. Like they can't do anything else. That's all they can grab except maybe a potion.
Yeah, a lot of power on both sides. It's very hard to keep track of who's stronger than who at this point. So sometimes you feel maybe as like for Zoro for an example, like Zoro just walking up to Trash Panda, you eat 2 crits and suddenly you're out of HP. It feels like you should be stronger, but when you're equal levels, despite like the XP budget in bot lane is usually less, but now the Caitlyn is now level 18. Everyone is approaching max items here in this game number 2. The tension has not been higher. 45 minutes and counting. Neutrals are down, waves are being shoved. We're gonna have to keep our eyes onto the key team fighting members of both sides. You're looking at Glada and you're looking at Wonjun to see if they can find ways into this one.
I've lost count of how many Barons we've seen so far. I think this was the 4th one. I want to say 3rd or 4th.
I think 4, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I've lost track, and I realized I probably should be keeping track because this is wild. I have not seen this. We might even get a second Elder. That's how bad this game has gotten, and that hurts. I really hope someone's running Gathering Storm. That's
it's 1 crit
shot. Trash Panda's like, yo, step up again. Try me.
We talked about it before. The Caitlyn damage is absolutely through the roof. The Infinity Edge crit comes through, and Mystic is just gone. Running that cleanse, not able to provide any value into a duel with the Caitlyn. Finds that isolated duel, but Wisteria is pushing in the bot lane, Zoro pushing in the top lane. Are Conduit going to have what it takes to end this one?
They have to get back. This hurts. Trash Panda is still very, very strong. This 3-man composition is going to be more than enough. However, take a look. Wheeze went back and recalled. So they can't end. They can't end.
We're setting records here in the APL on longest game time. This one's still not even close to being finished. It's going to feel so bad for Conduit. Trash Panda finds a free pick onto the 80 carry, something you can never really say in League of Legends, and it amounts to basically nothing.
There was a 58-second death timer, a full minute, and a TP on Merciful Crow, and you still couldn't find an angle to end the game. Maybe there's a reason that I'm not a player, but like that would have been the trigger pull for me. I would have been like, let's go, like end this game one way or another. We have the power, we have the Hextech Soul, like we can do this. However, take a look at the objectives. Elder Dragon is going to be up once again, and this is going to be the big test for Conduit Regret. If they lose Elder here, it could easily swing right back. If we see Elder go the way of Conduit Regret, it could be the game ender as well. So many little pieces of the puzzle have to go right, and so many little pieces have to not fall on the wayside.
Yeah, you're seeing the Wolves try and thin out these waves. Saber is so annoying to try and close out a game on when she refuses to die. She can go down the one time, but again, the wave clear between all of the carries on the side of the Wolves, it's so much. But Zoro looks like he's getting jumped on. He's gonna have to flash away.
Let's take a look at the rest of the team, though. They are using this, and honestly, I give a lot of props to the Wolves. They've done this before. They've drawn TPs, and they know how to split the map so quickly. They do it once again, and Rona Zoro is still safe, so now it's going to be a 2v4 situation. Hard power down of this top side, and but it doesn't fall into the Cyclone. They find one of them. I'm still going to be trying to keep everyone alive. Glada is doing the DPS. In goes the losing Lullaby, but it barely does anything. Trash Panda flies forward, and that's going to be the kills. Are you going to get a Quadra? Maybe True Shot Barrage. Not even in this game. Angels not in this one. Trash Panda with a triple is gonna hone in on mid lane and look to rush down this game.
I can't believe it. It's almost 49 minutes into the game. Is Conduit going to bring us to a conclusion and take momentum into the series? I think it's inevitable at this point. He just has to, Weez just has to gatekeep, but I think Zoro still can teleport in his face.
I mean, you can try, but you're definitely going to die. I think that's what you know. And I mean, you're going to have to. There's going to be a chance. Look at the damage. Actually, there's like no damage back there. I don't think they can end. Well, okay, I say that, and I'm pretty sure they can, but like, if Rona Zero gets a really good ultimate, that might be the difference. First tower goes down. Second one's going to be next. Easy pinch as Trash Panda is on the top side. Junction tried a desperate attempt to try and save everyone, but you're not going to. And in almost a 50-minute barn burner, Conduit Regret take game number 2.
I'm speechless. I'm speechless. That was some League of Legends. That is what separates good teams from the great teams, to be honest. Elders, Barons, Dragons, Souls, items, 6 items, Zephyrs, they're all coming through, and Conduit find the better team fight. Was it the champions? Was it the teamwork? They're finding some magic here. The lower seed team trying to take on the big dogs, and the Wolves come up short on that one.
It hurts to say, because we mentioned as well, these are issues that opponents can kind of take apart later on as well. One of the big things that I always like to talk about is if you can't close out a game, you can't find an angle, enemy teams are going to punish you for that one as well. And that actually really, really scares me. Both these teams drew this game out to what, 49 minutes or something like that? Jordan, what do they need to do? If you're looking to kind of close out this game, how would you have done it instead of just like a random catch on 3 at the end?
I mean, so we can all agree that the first 25 minutes, we saved all of our summoners and we did not press any of our buttons, right? Like, we traded waves for a long time. 2 dragons on one side, 6 scrubs on the other, rift to it. Like, it's just, there was no action. We have a Wukong, we have engaged, we have buttons to press, we can force on our enemies, but you just see the hesitation. You see a lot of the nerves starting to show through. You don't want to be the one to make that mistake. And then suddenly you're not playing to win at that point. You're playing not to lose. I think that's what we saw here from kind of both teams. You see the limited tools on the side of the Wolves, but also that hesitation. I loved what they did in the side lanes. That's the one thing that I think the Wolves have a definitive edge on, Wisteria and Zoro, when they kind of go separate and they split off and the Seraphine can no longer group with our team. They were starting to find an edge, but then translating that edge, like when Zoro did that cross map flank around the Baron pit and just took the game into his own hands, won a team fight. They like 4 for Ode and took a Baron, immediately grabbing hold of the game. Why was there not more of that? It was a lot of 1v1ing and then trading waves, and so there's a lot of hesitation going on. You need to see people that are not afraid to pull the trigger. I think that's it. Don't be afraid of failing. Like, these games are forgiving. You're in a best of 5 series. The tension is now building. We're only in a best of 3 now. So which team is going to come out on top? It's the team that's going to be willing to take some risks.
I get behind you on that one. Honestly, if you wanted a time to get messy and get a little bit gambly, those were the games to do it. Games 1 and 2 are the big ones. Now your window is, narrowing. Your chance at victory is closing, and that's going to be the big one. As you said, Jordan, we are down to a best of 3, and teams need to be aware of that. So we are going to go to a short break, get everyone ready to go, and then we're going to get set for game number 3 between Conduit Regret and Blue Saber Wolves Dawn. Don't go anywhere. And we are here for game number 3. After 50 minutes, which more or less felt like 2 games in 1, we're right back onto the Rift. And guess what? The sides are the same. The Wolves and Regret are both sitting here going, hey, we don't want to change a single dang thing. However, this time might be it. And I really hope both teams recognize the drafting felt okay in their own right. It's just that trigger pull. It's, hey, are we going to make the move? That's what we want to see. Bans exact same from game number 2. Let's see if we get a big shakeup, maybe some more engage in the game as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Wolves might even be throwing a respect ban on the Taric.
Wow.
Those ultimates were quite clutch, so hats off to Yipsy on that one. The Wukong priority is still through the roof, finding that decisiveness, but don't be afraid to pull the trigger this time around.
You need to see more proactivity, and I'll say that to my dying days. You need to be proactive in these games. The game is right now formulated to be aggressive. At points, you can gain a lot of ground if you're the one in the front, and I like this call down. Something that we saw banned in game number 1 was the Poppy. All the way back, it was ban number 2 for Conduit Regret, and you lock in that Poppy. I believe that is sent Zoro's way just to be a giant pain in the backside.
Yeah, honestly, you do have to respect the option of a flex pick, so maybe it goes jungle. Poppy support has been popping up. I don't see these 2 players maybe picking it for themselves, especially not Silly Goofy, our beloved enchanter player. And that's going to be another Kaisa, and you got to expect that's probably, it's at least a flex. Let's just leave it at that.
We're not allowed to even say it's not a flex. Like, we literally have to say due to facts that is a flex.
We're paying the Wisteria tax right now.
Yeah, true.
Could be popping mid guys, like, let's just respect it. I like Conduit kind of admitting that draft was not the problem. They absolutely found a lot of groove there. They didn't take the victory in that one, but anytime it's a 50-minute game, like, you can easily lose. So speaking of late game champs, are we going to see this is actually right up Silly Goofy's repertoire as far as enchanters go. Enchanter Senna is running rampant in solo queue right now. It's a little bit overtuned. Do we actually see the lock? We do not. So that's going to be a Syndra to try and pressure this Seraphine. And I don't know how I feel about that, because Syndra's looking for a bit of a burst situation, and Seraphine has a lot of shielding to offer. So
that's also later on, I would say. This was also banned away in games 1 and 2, taken out of the pockets there. So the Wolves are just like, okay, we're not going to run that. Wisteria is just kind of sitting in the zone of, okay, well, we want to get a good matchup, and now we can ban out that top side, which, again, I give a lot of credit to Wheeze and Zoro. Both of them have played a decent amount of champions so far. Both of them have gone ahead and played 2 uniques. We'll see if it continues to be that, because the Cassante is banned away. If you want to run the Olaf set once again, you could. There's a lot more playmaking potential, I think, on both ends right now. So we'll see if that works. Last man to come in here. Last time it was that Syndra, but this time around, hey, maybe you want to take out the set. Honestly, set did a lot of work in the early stages. Granted, fell off pretty heavily in the late game, as a set normally does if you don't get to play around. But instead it's that Senna ban, which was hovered earlier.
Yeah, I wonder what the Wolves are going to pick up for themselves here. If Silly Goofy's going to grab up one of the all-in supports to make a pairing with Kaisa. It's actually going to be an R5 support pick, so we see the Mordekaiser grabbed up. Can almost certainly say that that's going to be for Zoro in the top lane. The Poppy is likely jungle in this one. And as I say that, I'm tripping over my words, because Angst has literally played Mordekaiser jungle, or Yeonjun, sorry. So I'll have to see where they're going to elect to go with that one. Splitting open the team fight, maybe. A lot of CC on both sides so far. It's actually going to be a Lux pickup for Yipsy there in the bottom lane. So Kate Lux into the Kaisa lane. So if they can stay safe and keep pushing waves, that is terrifying as the Kaisa.
I would actually say I actually really like this a lot more as well. Caitlyn Lux has so much more bully potential than we saw before. Remember, it was Regret in the bottom lane that took 3 plates very, very quickly. All of a sudden, for the Wolves, I'm actually...
What? Okay. No, like, the Blitzcrank's good. The Blitzcrank's good. Wow. Cool.
Silly Goofy is in a Silly Goofy mood. We literally were touting this player as like the enchanter player, and then breaks out a Blitzcrank just to piss off the Seraphine. And you know what? I dig it.
Yeah, it does make the Lux and the Caitlyn fear every time they're trying to take your plates. right? Blitzcrank can walk past the wave, threaten hook. That can get really scary. So the Caitlyn Lux can't accelerate in the lane the way they'd like to, unless they can find good trap combos, good skill shots. You always look for that. Kaisa is very outranged in this one, so expect Conduit to have the edge until a big rocket grab can come through, or until Wanjun can find his way down into the bot lane.
I am worried. Obviously, the compositions are a decent bit different right now, and that I think is going to bring its own kind of difficulties to both sides. I'm very curious to see how the game plays out. Hopefully, it's not another 49-minute barn burner, because I'd like the first 25 minutes of the game to actually matter, but we're going to see how it plays out. Right now, the APL will continue in just a little bit. Don't go anywhere. And we are here ready for game 3 after an extended pause. We appreciate everyone that stuck with us through that. We understand that pauses are not always fun, but we had some technical issues and we got them all sorted out. We got the Black Myth Wukong out here on Glada, and of course gonna get a little bit spicy. That's a random hook over the wall, and all of a sudden Yipsy is in a little bit of trouble. Flash out, which is pretty much a stock standard for Blitzcrank.
Yeah, you hate to see the defending of the invade in the one spot that Blitzcrank can find that easy hook. So advantage over to the Wolves once again, but Conduit coming out with the game 2 win there with some great team fighting super late into the game. They're going to take momentum in this series, building off of the success they had in game number 2. They've gone for a very similar looking team comp. The Wolves have elected to spice things up a bit, namely silly goofy on the Blitzcrank. We've said it time and time again. That's our Enchanter player here in the APL. Very good at what he does and provides Mystic with a ton of scaling and safety. Typically not something we see from him going on the Blitzcrank, the counter matchup into the Lux, and the Flash is already burned. So that's pretty good.
It gives a lot more pressure down to the bottom lane, whereas normally a Blitzcrank would only be happy under their own tower. This time around, they're under, pressure from everywhere. You go ahead and throw down a hook, even if the opponent is under their own tower. All of a sudden, you get kill threat. However, Trash Panda and Yipsy can do this and can go ahead and get some bully aspects of their own. So we'll see what they can do here. Also, on the jungle side, you can go ahead and take a look. Both junglers opting for their blue side start and just saying, okay, we're going to play this nice and smart. Both went ahead and picked up pots as well, and I'm very curious because in game number 2, Youngjun was I just want to say non-existent. It felt like the Lily wasn't doing too much. Now, given the signature Poppy, maybe have a bit more of room to breathe.
Yeah, looking at Wanjun's champion pool, I'd say Lilia is probably the least ganking champion that he's played. A lot of Viego in there, some Fiddlesticks, some Wukong, some Ivern. So Lilia might be a little bit detached from that, playing more of a farming style, and maybe he took that to heart and was playing a little bit inactive on the map. So the Poppy is much more impactful, and you're already seeing skipping camps, getting down to that bot lane, and making sure this Kate Lux can't breathe. Here we go.
And it feels a lot better now as Trash Panda is going to be in for an unfortunate treat. Nice knockup. Clean's going to come out here, but last pocket not going to work, and that's a misstep and a half. Trash Panda, I believe, flashed backwards by accident and gives up a kill.
Yeah, really nice aggression to see from the Wolves, finding that surprise play. The Kate Lux are winning until they die, and Wanjun skipping camps, and for good reason, showing up here on the bot side and getting the ball rolling for the Blitzcrank, which is really nice.
I feel so good, and I mean, this is also the part of the game where anyone that's played Blitzcrank is really happy. Of course, now comes the counter gank as Glada is like, yo, I'm going to slow you. You are going to be super slowed, but Youngjun wandering over from that river is going to be within the vicinity, so Silly Goofy gets out for free.
Yeah, and you're going to see the wave state salvaged, but Trash Panda and Yipsy on this Kate Lux are only really succeeding if they are generating push. So no freeze shenanigans will be happening here. So Mystic is going to come back to a neutral wave state. It's going to feel pretty fine on that front, as we're seeing 50 seconds until the first neutral objective of the game. And you see first recall come forward onto Glada. Wonder where he's going to go.
I think Glada might not be glad about this top side, as Youngjun is really making their presence known. And this is going to be Wheeze to eat up a lot of damage down on the top side. That's going to be a good blow on the back of the head. Wheeze just doesn't want to expend this flash, and so you're okay. I'd also like to rectify something, because I feel like players deserve credit where credit is due. Trash Panda flashed way earlier than that. That was actually a hook that brought him back. So I apologize to Trash Panda. You did not accidentally flash into enemy hands.
Really nice play. Well played by
I just got to give happiness there.
No, totally, for sure. Good to clarify, because Trash Panda has been having a really good series, picking up the Caitlyn here in game number 2 once again. So see if he can replicate some of the success that he had in the super late phase of game number 2. Try to get the ball rolling and keep it rolling. A little bit too much inaction in game number 2. Excuse me.
Oh, wow. That's another nice one as Trap goes down just to ensure Yipsy gets out, but Mystic is going to walk up and get a free tag down. Silly Goofy eats damage in return, but I mean, that's kind of the fear factor right there. Silly Goofy is allowed to play. There's going to be a pinch, though, inside of the mid, but Yanjun is only level 3 to a level 6 on Merciful Crow, which is a situation you don't really want to be in. Level 3 also on Silly Goofy as we're getting way more action. Watch out for the Encore misses, so Merciful Crow is at the whimsy of the opponents. Glada has to run away, so Dragon is very much available, but Merciful Crow is pushed the other way. It is going to be a one-for-one trade, though, but that's a dub, I think, for the side of Conduit Regret. However, Wisteria doing some work. One more throwdown is there. It's a double kill, but Trash Panda eats up so much as well. And it's gonna be a double for double. Wisteria gets huge, but Trash Panda is the one that lives.
Trash Panda coming up huge there once again to get the Poppy and the Syndra. That was a bit of a swag moment. Blood spilt on both sides, all fighting over this dragon. The dragon actually lives, which is kind of funny enough. Merciful Crow whiffs the combo, but then the other spell rotations were used quite well, getting a lot of damage dealt. So good on that front. But we're seeing some fireworks here that we did not see in game number 2's early game.
This is going to be also a very dangerous spot to be in because both lanes, this is one of the things that we didn't see in game number 2. We are seeing a little bit of a divergence of where the power lands. And that's something that I really do want anyone watching to keep eyes on. Wisteria has pressure over in mid, and then Trash Panda now has power in bot side. All of these things could culminate in leads for either team if used appropriately.
Yeah, I like that you point that out. One thing I noticed about the bot lane is Yipsy has 3 games in a row gone for a summoner spell that just leaves a big question mark over my head. They're actually running double barrier in the bot lane against a Blitzcrank. I don't understand it at all. I'm hesitant to call it good. Yeah, a little bit of a question mark there for me. I don't think it's very good.
Yeah, and I think it's right to point out, it's almost what we like to call a selfish style of play. Instead of, helping out your ADC or anything, it's the selfish factor of I want to stay alive, and there is a high priority of I'm not really going to be able to help out the rest of the team. Now, granted, the shields and heals and everything like that, you can do as a Lux. But in this current instance, it will be a change out. So bottom side, Dragon is finally taken in trade, but top side is a whole different story. That's a walk forward. Ronar Zoro wins a 1v1 out of nowhere.
Yeah, the Volley Bear kind of pushing his limits there, staying on the map for a little bit too long. Likes to play the sustain war, looking to go for that Rod of Ages, but actually just gonna eat up the solo kill there from Zoro.
And that's going to leave it into another difficult spot because I personally feel the Mordekaiser has a much better time of ensuring that you get a fight versus previously, as that's a huge chunk out. I think a hook was used by Silly Goofy, and then Trash Panda and Yipsy are like, okay, you don't have hook, we're good.
Yeah, like we talked about, the Lux Caitlyn, if they're able to establish push, are just such a relentless sort of pick tool that Conduit can use to get their way into this game. You see the individual leads coming through for Zoro and for Wisteria. The CS is piling up already. We see this most of their games, but Trash Panda kind of gluing the map together with a winning bot lane here. This is really nice to see.
Oh, that's a laser flash away. Just a little bit of range. And Yipsy and Trash Panda are, once again, we mentioned this power struggle. Feels like Trash Panda and Yipsy are doing pretty dang well.
Yeah, get your wave crashed and get on home, spend that gold and keep that pressure flowing. Conduit has their way into the game, and the way is quite clear. If they can lick their wounds here and stifle up some of the aggression coming in from the Wolves in the top side, they're looking pretty good here. Glada is going to have to find an effect on the map so far. The Poppy came out ahead in some of the earlier ganks, and Glada has yet to really make his impact felt. He's sitting on that level 6. He's got that ultimate available and that flash. He's approaching Zoro's lane, so we're gonna have to take a look if Zoro is in a position that he can get pressured. He's clobbering for now.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say, like, that is a heavy Brunt Force hammer on the head. Actually went for a hard burn build as well, which is the standard, but it just it kind of goes to show the power difference right now. Last time, Wheeze has also struggled in a lot of these challenging matchups. I mean, has so far games 1 and 2 both, I feel like, lost out pretty heavily in the early game. And this Volibear is very, very susceptible to early game fights because of the Rod of Aegis build. So Wheeze relegated to under tower. And honestly, I feel Rona Zoro, if you wish, you could just drop the ultimate and be like, yeah, let's fight.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think he's showing some restraint and some respect based on not knowing where Wukong is. So didn't have the cover of his own jungler, so is going to play a little bit respectful because he's already getting so much CS in terms of discrepancy, and he's also going to get an extra plate for himself on his recall. Silly Goofy. Anytime Silly Goofy and Wanjun are on the same screen, you got to worry. This Trash Panda and Yipsy almost eating.
Whoa.
That was weird. That was ambitious, to say the least. Flash Blood. Let's pretend Silly Goofy and Yipsy. It was a good hook.
They both went for something and neither really landed. I think if you're looking at Yipsy, you were praying that you actually hit onto Silly Goofy, and that was going to be your window in. However, because of that flash, because it didn't really lead to anything, the gank on the bot side isn't going to land, and I like this. I would like to call down that both teams have been far more proactive than they were in game number 2. Heavily invested into trying to get these lanes ahead, heavily invested in ensuring that you get leads on the map. I just hope it doesn't stall out towards that mid game where we saw last time a both squad just kind of like, we don't know what to do next.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Syndra is going to be a X factor for the Wolves. You saw Wisteria having some explosive moments, some good killer instincts forward, but Kai'Sa doesn't have any CC set up for Lilia, and as we're talking about CC, Glada is just going to take off Mystic's head in the bot lane.
Very nicely done. That was a gank that was set up and preempted by quite a mile, so proactivity set aside. That was a big part as well as for forcing out Silly Goofy. So with the current situation, it is going to be a bot side tower heavily invested in all 5 plates granted to the pockets of Trash Panda and the rest of Conduit Regret.
Jeez, they are going to cement themselves a nice gold lead. This Caitlyn is living the dream right now. Oh, and it looks like Wheeze has gone down here in the top lane. I think we missed that.
Same in the mid lane, as that was a gank by Silly Goofy. So for punishment in the bot side by Conduit Regret, the solo laners are annihilated to the Wolves.
Yeah, so what we missed on screen there was Wanjun just kind of rolled up into the top lane, blue flash, blue ult onto Wheeze that still did not have his flash back up. Ultimate burn, but he's going to go down. And then Merciful Crow eating a Syndra stun into a Blitzcrank hook, and Wolves cement themselves on the top side.
Feels pretty dang good, and we mentioned these power points for both squads. It's going to be a big test for either side. And Silly Goofy trying to play the annoyance factor, gets a nice little hook. No one else is really around, but that's kill instinct that you want, and there isn't really anything else. The barrier will not be used here. Tried to Lux Laser out, but in comes the clone. Glada is going to try and do some work, and they do. Trash Panda accidentally eat forward, and that's actually going to bring him right to the realm of death because Rona Zoro says, yo, I am the strength, I am the beacon, and I will get that kill. Jungle v Jungle as Yunjun forces out the flash out of Glada, and this will be Dragon number 2 to the Wolves.
Love to see top laners TPing for their teams, bailing out the situation there. Silly Goofy, nice hook to open it up, and Zoro, nice TP to confirm it. Dragon going to be the reward on this side, and Wisteria making the move up into top lane, so nothing is really even lost. That's a really positive play for the Wolves.
Oh my god. Another Hextech Dragon, by the way. I love this. And you're talking about rotations before. The Hextech gates will ensure that these rotations continue for a decent amount of time. And they have to be quick on it. This is going to be Herald down on the ground for anyone to play for. And with the 6 grubs granted to the Wolves Saber, you can see that they're trying to put it into full effect. I wonder who is going to use it, though, because this Herald isn't really actually going to give that much. If you think about it, first tower already down, you're not getting plates out of it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I really don't like the bot lane of Conduit coming down here. They're kind of homeless and jobless in this current state of affairs. Like, Merciful Crow needs to move over to the side lane just because Caitlyn and Lux need a tower behind them and in front of them if they're able to kind of live that dream of snowballing. Because if they push bottom anymore, they're in a dangerous situation. Speaking of dangerous situations, Glada going to try and collect some info on the Herald just to scout and see what's going on. But you see the bot lane moving up now into the mid lane.
I mean, that's the right call, but it's a little bit too little too late. It'll be a slow take. There you go. Finish it off, and it is all yours. Now, do you want to fight on the top side? Is that just a solo kill by Wisteria? Now you draw in the clone as well. Laser isn't going to do enough, as that's a beautiful shield from the Sarah's Embrace, and it works just too dang well. At least I think that was a Sarah's. No, it wasn't. That, I think, was a beautiful Aegis usage. Silly Goofy said, I got you, my mid laner.
Yeah, wonderful play coming in from the individuals on the side of the Wolves. Tried to land the Seraphine Wukong combo, but again, a lot of your power in this game is in your bot lane right now. Trash Panda is sitting on a hefty item lead right now, so you got to play through the man on your screen, or it's not going to go too hot.
Of course, in the same right, with the current state of affairs, it feels like Conduit and Regret are realizing that they might be behind the curve just a tiny bit. Your Volibear has died 3 times. Zoro is currently 2-0-1. Rylai's is about to be done as well. The power, the fear that the Wolves tend to instill in opponents is starting to come back a little bit more. That ability to take down opponents very quickly is nice to have. But now we're in that lull. No global objectives on the map, so everyone goes back to farming.
Yeah, it's interesting to see who really got the edge in terms of drafts, because you're seeing this Mordekaiser pick doing so much work in the side lane, and Wisteria on the Syndra just seems to have the matchup knowledge just to be able to always secure that lead for himself. Coming out worse for wear with that Kai'Sa flex pick, getting punished by the Caitlyn Lux. But Mystic is doing quite well to stay competitive in CS, as you're seeing Merciful Crow just getting abused again and again, and he's just going to go down.
That hurts. It's a drastic difference from game number 1, the early punish to ensure. And I like that call down you mentioned earlier on, is how do you deal with the situation of, for Wisteria, you know, you are supposed to be a burst mage, but the shielding coming out of Merciful Crow, the way to do it, just kill them before they get it. You go ahead, punish this, this kind of mid lane pick who is opting into that burn build. We see that Blackfire Torch once again, but it is doing a lot of work for them. That's going to be a little bit of an ace in a hole, body blocked by Silly Goofy, whether they like it or not. But Merciful Crow is dead, and that just, you kind of have to deal with it.
Yeah, this siege coming into the mid lane via the Syndra pressure with the Poppy channeling right in your face. It just feels a little bit rough. Flash forward.
Wow, that's a heavy punch, but a good shield to come out here, and that's going to be the binding. Yipsy finds the return kill. Not even return, as that's an awkward flash. Merciful Crow tried it earlier on and gets it this time around. Of course, no one else is really there to help out, and it's going to be a jungle being taken down. Huge kick, though, as that's the unleashed power, and Merciful Crow just TP'd back to the death. Rona Zero looking for Yipsy, who is in a spot of trouble with the Wukong in the back end. Glada is looking for more kills. Another cyclone to break out here, but Rona Zero is just too dang strong. Flashes in with the AoE, and it's gonna be a bloody brawl, as Trash Panda is the only one to live to tell the tale, and it's once again the Wolves to take the team fight.
Solo laners coming in super clutch there on the side of the Wolves. Conduit do a good punish of the aggressive move coming in from the Poppy Kai'Sa combination. Mystic finds himself on the same screen as 4 other players and is going to go down because of it. But the Wolves are just doing too much. Their pressure, their strength in this game has just gotten way out of control, and Conduit are just having a tough time sort of refocusing.
We are learning why Wisteria has the Syndra ban against him. 8-1-3 right now. That is a powerhouse move this time around as well. It is a buy-up of that Magi Soul Sealer, and it is getting its money's worth. 10 stacks so far. Might as well make it a few more, as this is going to be Dragon simply taken away.
Yeah, that's the reward from winning all the team fights. You kind of get to go where you please, and it looked like Conduit were coming out with a couple kills there, punishing some of the aggressive moves, but it's just too little too late. The solo laners really coming forward and clutching up in this one, providing a lot of the power.
I think right now this is something that the Wolves got together pretty dang quickly, and I'm very impressed with them. With an elongated game, sometimes you get a very difficult state to be in. I like the mental side of things is very difficult to come back from, and it feels like they bounced back very neatly. They said, hey, you know, it it was a back and forth game. It was a 50-50 at the very end. We might have played just a little poorly, and now we get to actually fight. So we'll see how it goes. A nice little dance around, as that's going to be the Hammer of Justice come out here. You go ahead and let it fall, and you got to keep it right back for an incoming team fight. And Conduit Regret, they're starting to feel that burn, because take a look. This is Baron, currently sitting on the table at 20 minutes, and honestly, the Wolves are eyeing it.
Yeah, when Baron goes dark in a Blitzcrank game, it gets super scary. Oh my god. Yipsy, that's a death if he eats that hook.
No summoning spells, nothing of the sort, not even a cleanse if you had it would save you. And this just allows them to dive right in. What a chance! Wisteria finds the lone and summoner-less bot lane. Trash Pan and Yipsy sent straight to death. And it's going to be the Wolves to take Baron.
I'm in so much shock that you got your eyes on Blitzcrank, and then Wisteria is the one to kill both the bot laners. The Wolves are doing a great job attacking both sides of mid, and that is just going to be Baron number 1. Similar to the game number 1, this gold lead has gotten out of control. It's already 10,000 gold. And Baron number 1 at 21 minutes. That is a good schedule to be on.
You're moving a lot faster this time around, and it feels like the comfort zone of the Wolves has really come into play here. You can take a look, 12,000 gold in Wisteria's pocket, and going to go back and spend 900 of it at some point. Of course, you just came back out on the map, so you're like, yeah, I can't really spend it, but it's okay. You are miles ahead. Just about anyone. I would like to point out the largest gold amount for Conduit Regret is 8K. It don't matter. Bye, Merciful Crow.
I don't know what to say. It just feels so bad. You feel like you have to respond to the side lane. You have to catch these waves. You have to catch up. And Wisteria will occupy any and all dark bushes and just one-shot you from that. So you got to be scared of the Blitzcrank, but it looks like this game number 3 is going to be the Wolves' game to lose. They've got so much threat. They've got so much power. How on earth is Conduit going to find any way back into this one?
Maybe with a laser. Maybe.
That would have sounded really cool if Mystic just got one shot, but
Yeah, I was about to say, it would be a cool one, but it's not. And
That's
right now, I
how-
don't even think you could. Like, Yipsy's 0-4 and 6 with like an item and a half. It's not great. We're on Zoro on the top side, by the way. It's just like, screw everyone. I'm going to power farm this down. Looking at the Blackfire Torch if they get the chance. I don't even think they need it. This feels much more like the Blue Saber Wolves Dawn that we've seen in the regular season. Much more controlled, much more in their own game space. And I appreciate that fact. Inhibitor Tower now getting knocked down in a 4v4 situation. They are much stronger. And that'll be a nice scout of the week to slow them all down. 5v4 situation. That's because Zoro is on the top side just hard pushing. It don't matter. Yunjun is running for their life, but take a look. They're looking for a triple inhibitor setup. The Wolves are just slowly chipping away, and it's just so easy to do. Ace in the hole does literally no damage as just onslaught after onslaught of waves. Conduit Regret have to make a move at some point if they want to save their base.
looks like it's already kind of about to be checkmate. When you do get triple inhib, it's kind of just, you're just drowning in super minions and then the map is surrendered. So if the Wolves are able to secure this third and final inhibitor, you see the teleport from Wisteria gonna arrive at the mid lane, but here is the go button.
Oh man, what a laser, but if they had damage, it would be big. That's gonna be a chance at the backside, as that's an ace. Not an ace, but ace in the hole, they wish. This will be a double kill for Wisteria, as they're looking for a beauty of a chance. Trash Panda able to go in the ghost form, well, a ghost that you don't really want to be in, as that's a hammer on the back of the head. Rono Zoro's like, yo, what's up? Give me that kill. The Wolves are looking to close out this game if they're given the option. They have all the damage in the world. They have all the members in the world. It's only Mystic to lose their life, as in half the time of game number 2, it will be the Wolves to secure their second dub of the series.
Nexus goes down. Wisteria and Zoro, the heroes of that game. Really creative drafting coming in from the Wolves. You know that Kais is a flex pick. Good block of the flex pick, and good punish from the side of the Kate Lux. It just came down to who played better on the day. The solo laners found their edge. Trash Panda found his edge. And then when the snowballs clashed into each other, it was not close. And the Wolves just seem to, they have this special perk to them where they win one fight and it's a 10,000 gold lead, like out of nowhere.
They know how to take a team fight and then turn it into a lead, and that's what we love about great players and great teams as well. The macro sense to move things along and continue to get that lead is very, very important. They got one more game to go. If they're able to make this, then they will move on to the semifinals. For Conduit with Regret, Jordan, what do they need to do right now?
You got the Seraphine Wukong combo in game number 2. And it was successfully countered there. Like, you went for it again thinking it wouldn't get punished or what have you. Now I think it's time for you to pull out your trap card because you got answered, right? Like the Syndra answer was really, really good into the Seraphine. So maybe we find something different. Maybe there's something else in the mid lane pool that we can shake things up, put Wisteria in maybe an uncomfortable position. It sounds like a very tall task. I like the Wukong. I didn't like the Lux. The R5 Blitzcrank did make the mid game very, very uncomfortable. So you won lane. What did it amount to after that? Piloting Lux support right now in today's meta. You saw what it looked like, right?
Yep. It's a painful one to note, and maybe Conduit Regret will leave no regrets on the table as they have one more game to try and prove themselves. That they win here, they push us to a game 5, and it'll be a long night for everyone if that occurs, and that's exactly what they want. Please don't go anywhere. The APL will continue in just a bit. And we are back for game number 4, and for the first time in this series we have a side swap. This is going to be Conduit Regret saying we are going to leave nothing on the table. Let's go ahead and get our counter picks, which I think is very, very appropriate for right now. Although the Wolves are still going with their double bans. Of course, the Caitlyn at the very end will be that shift.
Yeah, I like that look for Conduit, shifting things up. They do have to come out with a bit of a different look here. Weez and Zoro have been fist fighting in the top lane all series long, and the affairs have been relatively close. You saw the HP bars blinking in the Olaf game. In the Cassante Ornn matchup, Weez found the solo kill, ended up 3-0 on that one. Some things are going to change. The things that don't change is the Wukong priority in this series, so that's going to be a B1 Wukong for the Wolves, scooping that up for themselves.
I love the fact that we mentioned earlier that this could or could not be like that mainstay piece of the puzzle for the entire series, and it is. Feels like it so far. Neither team really wants to give it over, and it feels like such a nice piece of the puzzle. Oh, do it. Oh, do it. Please, please do it. I want to see. Yeah, the glove thrown in the face.
Yeah, love that Lilia lock. Good stylistic counter, but you need to pair it with the right tools. So if Silly Goofy is going to be on an enchanter, you have to have CC elsewhere. I'm talking Ashe. I'm talking a mid lane mage that has some kind of setup. Thinking Ahri for the side of Merciful Crow, because I know the champion pools are a little bit limited. So Trash Panda going to grab the Jinx, like that hyper carry for himself. Milio is off the table, if I'm reading that correctly. So yeah, Mystic and Silly Goofy not going to be able to access their old tricks.
Wow. The Ahri as well in the hover, that surprised me a little bit, I think. I do like the flexibility with Wisteria, and I'm surprised that they even thought about showing that stuff in the early stages. But they go for the Jhin. This is, again, a wholly different bot lane, by the way. If you see the Jinx coming out here, it would be under the assumption that you are going to get a little bit spicy with it. You know, grab that Enchanter support on the back end. So the Wolves have a thought. Do you want to go CC, or do you want to keep with Silly Goofy style of the Enchanters yourself? I am still very surprised that Leona has made it so far through. And it is going to be that Zillion we mentioned before. We saw a little hover in game 1 actually bring it out.
For who, we're gonna have to find out, because I have no data on this. I thought it was a troll hover, so I don't know. Could be Wisteria, could be Silly Goofy, could be a flex. All of the above, we'll have to find out. I'm really happy we're seeing a Jhin, because both Mystic and Trash Panda, I thought Jhin was going to be a mainstay in this series, and this is the first time we're seeing it here in game number 4. Both these carries love the utility that Jhin and the damage, like it's like the perfect balance for that champion for these players, and it's Yipsy this time scooping up that Taric.
This also makes a lot more sense to me. Huh?
It worked for them before.
Yeah, but this one to me makes me a lot more happy, I think. I mean, when you have a Jinx, it makes a lot more sense to have that Cosmic Radiance. It feels a lot better as well to have that safety factor. It feels a lot stronger when it comes to that mid to late. It also gives them a lot more priority in that late game. If you're a Wukong and Jhin and Zillion, you ain't gonna enjoy that late game. I am so sorry. It's going to suck if you're not careful. So right now we are looking at that mid to top side. The Tryndamere once again banned away, which has been a tried and true piece of the Wolves composition. You go ahead and keep banning it away. Mordekaiser banned on the other side, as that's another toss to Zoro and Weez, but the Syndra once again taken away. This is where the interesting part comes out. Where are you sending the counter pick?
Yeah, I expect to see an Ahri pickup for Merciful Crow here. He plays mages. There's only so many safe ones that are blindable. So there's the Hui. Okay, so it is a mid lane mage. We are getting a Weez counter pick on R5 to try and break this stalemate that we got in the top lane. And the Wolves are going to need... Oh, they're going to take the Ahri for themselves. Ahri Wukong is terrifying, and a Jhin on top, a huge corridor at whenever you want to push your buttons is going to get so scary.
Okay, The other side of that is I'm actually really liking Conduit Regret. They are making sure that they have the team fight set up. So for the Wolves, do you want to go team fight heavy, or do you want to go for that dueling potential once again? Aatrox was covered back in game number 3 as well, but the blind picket here might lead to a little bit of danger. Regret and we specifically is going to be given the option. Do you want to play with the rest of the team? Do you want to go Ornn? Do you want to get a bit silly? How are you going to face down this Cho'Gath, the beast, the angry feaster that if you give over kills, it's not gonna be a good time, but you know it was left open and you know you gotta play it. The Mundo has been unleashed here into game number 4.
Okay, so we got frontline on both sides. We got team fighting. When I look at the side of the Wolves, their ultimate cooldowns are obviously going Malignance. Their uptime on the map is a little bit higher. When you think on the other side, Conduit Regrets, they've got Lily Asleep, high ulti cooldown. They've got Taric ult, one of the highest ulti cooldowns in the game. So a lot of power on both sides. I'm leaning towards the Wolves side of the screen there. I like what they've drafted for themselves. Ahri Wukong is just so terrifying. They've got themselves kind of their comfort, Silly Goofy on a range support once again. I'm excited. Game 4 is
I am as well. I am as well. Honestly, though, I will say if this goes to late game once again, if Conduit Regrets can draw it out like they did in game number 2, I honestly don't see a way the Wolves are going to cut through. It feels a little bit difficult. So I'm actually on the other side, and we'll see which team actually takes it away and proves us right here on the desk. I'm excited to see what goes down. We're into game number 4. The Wolves just need one more game to go ahead and move on into the semifinals for Conduit Regrets. So it's a little bit longer path. We'll see how this plays out, so don't go anywhere, as the APL will be right back.
Youth grown colder. push it away. Intense chase and whispers before they all just fade. So how can I leave it all behind when I refuse to watch it fall to dust? I will find a this porcelain mirage may start to break. Each piece a reminder, every single little mistake. So how can I leave it all behind when I refuse to watch it fall to dust? Tell me why it won't ever be the same. I'll burn it all, no matter who's to blame. I'll find a way. I'll find a way. And every time I close my eyes, a little less of you remains. I know you're slipping further from me now. Am I too far away?
And we are live with game number 4. What could possibly be the end of this series? Blues, Saber, Wolves, Dawn have overcome game 2 loss and now look for a third. This is going to be very, very tricky, though, because there are some pretty heavy hitters on the side of Conduit Regret. But if the Wolves are able to come out on top in the early stages, things could go drastically wrong. Specifically, if Wisteria and Yeonjun are allowed to be very, very proactive.
Yeah, Conduit regrets securing themselves that oh so valuable Taric pick that has been pretty pivotal. As I speak, I'm going to see a little bit of level 1 shenanigans, but it doesn't look like anything's going to really transpire here. So the Taric was a pick that has previously beat the Wolves. The Wolves said, no, you're not getting it in game number 3, and Conduit are down to pick it again here in game number 4. So the questions that we have is Taric the team fighting god that Conduit need to come victorious? And is this R5 Mundo going to pay dividends and be able to be a form of pressure that Conduit can use to navigate this game?
On the other side as well, for the Wolves, we have to look at this bottom side. Silly Goofy breaking out the Zillion in this situation. Very far range, but not exactly an enchanter. If you will remember, played the Soraka pretty dang well, even though it was a loss. And this time around, I mean, the Zillion is just pure harass. So it's quite surprising to see this shift, and I'm very interested to see how well it fares as well.
Yeah, I think it just has excellent follow-up to what Wisteria and Wonjun are going to be trying to accomplish on the Rift. As we mentioned before, Ahri and Wukong on the same screen is just oh so deadly, and with Ahri going that Malignance, there's such a difference of time where the Wolves can make a play with their ultimates, and if Conduit has to commit their Taric ultimate, or if they're forced to commit their Lilia ultimate, there's such a huge window where the Wolves are ready to fight again and Conduit can't.
I mean, that's going to be a big piece to play for. On the other side, though, for the first time, the junglers are actually starting on the same side of the Rift. Take a look at that. Yeonjun starting off on their blue side, Lilia starting on the red, which does make sense in their pathing, but does mean that they're actually going to meet on the bottom side, depending if they decide to gank or not.
Yeah, this matchup in the top lane is probably not one you want to draw a bunch of junglers into. The champions are just so durable, so hard to actually pressure or take down. As I say that, they're probably just going to beat each other to death right here. But the junglers are going to be pathing down, try and disrupt some of that pushing power that the Jhin, Zillion are going to try to go for. As you already see so much harass coming down onto Trash Panda.
It looks like they're actually going to be met with a little bit of resistance here. Glada looking for a little extra damage. Nice slow to come in here. Actually, that's a pretty big whiff on the damage output. So Mystic and Silly Goofy able to really walk their way out. And for the first time as well, they're the ones actually getting some of these pushes in. Keep in mind, it's been Trash Panda and Yipsy to actually win most of the challenges. Hold up, top side. A little bit of difference as that's a flash away from the briefcase. And Weez also, for the first time, we're having a game of first. I feel like Weez getting the better of the top lane engagements.
Hey, you can't forget the Cassante performance he had. He had 3 kills in the Cassante game. It did not seem to matter because the game got to team fights, and Cassante was a fairly strong frontliner, but unable to really take over the game. Mundo in a low damage environment can do quite a bit in theory. So finding the 1v1 edge there, he's going to get spotted out here, and Wonjun is on the way.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a test. Is that actually first blood? Oh, Weez forgot that the great health does not mean help.
Yeah, just lack of damage foresight there. Just kind of Cho'Gath with the oh so threatening auto attack. The grass proc, and see you later. Send you back to spawns. Bit of a misplay there. Misstep there in game number 4. Hey, you say nice try.
I think that's the rough part as well. We talk about these leagues and we talk about the fact that the Wolves love to play any sort of scrap, and if they get a lead, they take over. We talked about the team fight. We also got to talk about the fact that they can punish mistakes as well, and Conduit Regret should not be giving over mistakes like that. When you give over one, it can cause a lot of problems and things can go sideways. So we're letting that happen now. Rona or Zoro gets a little bit easier time in lane.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So the early game has largely mirrored the previous, where things are quiet. We're gonna have to wait for the neutrals to see if there's gonna be any other fist fighting. So bot lanes are quieting down, taking their first recalls. Not too much going on.
They just chill is all they do.
No, exactly.
I do love. Yeah, it's just so quiet. I don't know what else to say because they're so used to fighting, and this time around they're just like, yeah, we're still chilling. It's only 1 kill in 6 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, what else is there really? Like Lilia picking up the Faded Ashes, she's going to start to accelerate ahead of the Wukong. That's what we normally see in this matchup. So it's normally on the Wukong to try and power through that level 6 mark and then look for some of those impact plays. So eyes on Wisteria coming off that first recall. Lost Chapter picked up, ultimate available. So now there's a lot of power that the Wolves have in the bottom side river where they can create some kind of darkness and chaos. Dragon started up on this side, kind of just taking advantage of Trash Panda's recall. It's going to be traded on the opposite side. Only 1 grub. Glada maybe just saying, I don't know for sure if it's safe, so I'm just going to grab 1 and reassess. I like this.
I think it's mostly as well with Stereo. You mentioned the power that an Ahri can bring, but because there was only 1 walking over, you kind of understand that, hey, the dragon on the other side was taken. So it will be completed, but maybe not as fast as you were hoping for. Grubs being taken away, though, will give them a little bit of fighting chance. Let's see what else they can do. It took a little bit longer than they would have liked, though. So Wisteria now roaming over. Youngjun just right behind, and ready to get into the mix. That's gonna be a chase forward. Level 7. This is level 5, and that's a charm to land on Weez, though. Trying to predict a little bit of that flash, and it's not going to happen as that huge lightning bolt is going to strike down. But Orozo is ready to fight. Level 5 only means that this could be death, and that's a chomp. It makes it look so easy as paint is going to hit the walls. However, Weez is in a really bad spot. You're not that tanky just yet. It's a team fight win on the top side. Merciful Crow, though, is going to lay down just enough damage to force him off a 3rd. But those grubs came with a heavy price.
Yeah, and that's the Wolves just knowing where they're strongest. They said the Ahri Wukong, that's where our power is. Zoro doing a great job in that fight, landing a couple ruptures that were pretty key to securing some of those kills. But overall, just saying, we got the dragon, and we're also going to make you pay for that extra Scuttle Crab.
Wisteria sticking around when it's a pretty terrifying thought, but Rona Zero realizing that they might be in a little bit of trouble. However, you're able to walk away. Massive wave getting pushed in, so Rona Zero gonna be safe. Wisteria as well. It's heavily a bait. Young Jun is just waiting. Does have flash to get into the mix. Doesn't have Cyclone though. That I think is going to be the big difference. And Wisteria is playing absolute eyes. That's a flash out, flash in, low six hit off the wave. Are you kidding me? What a call down! And it is a dub for Young Jun and Wisteria.
That was really well played by Wisteria, kind of shutting the door on any sort of shenanigans. Saying, Merciful Crow, I'm going to give you the solo kill. Nope, I am baiting and I got my jungler here.
I cannot believe that went down. So well played. This feels like a whole different squad than from game number 2. It feels like the game 1 monsters that we had before. It's a steady increase of 2K so far. I feel it's only going to get worse. However, that's a heavy dash forward. That's a sleep, and Glada can't follow up, which feels so bad.
All the mid jungle synergy coming in from the Wolves, some of the best we have in the APL. Going to be so exciting to see if they're able to secure this round of playoffs. In game number 4, are they able to snowball this one to victory? Because you're already seeing Zoro and Wisteria start to run away with their matchups, and the mid jungle is just doing so much work. Mystic and Silly Goofy are the stable force right now in the bot lane. They're just kind of making sure their opponents can't get anything extra, right? A lot of bot lanes make the mistake of taking too many spicy 2v2s when you don't really have to. You see that BF sword on the Jinx to the pickaxe of the Jhin, so it's like fighting, we don't really need to. Let's just kind of chill and let our team do their thing.
I think that's the right call as well. I love the fact that you pointed out, hey, if you know your team is winning, don't force anything. Don't go crazy, especially with Dragon coming up just about 2 minutes. It is going to be that Chemtech Dragon to come out here. So we're going to get one of the OG Dragon Souls that'll be played for, and if it's Infernal, that will cause a lot of chaos, I think, throughout the entirety of this game. It'll be a lot of fun to watch as well, but take a look at the HP differences in the top side. I would just like to point out, Rona Zoro with those 2 kills and assists early, plus a decent and healthy CS lead, went immediately for that Warmogs and is just an absolute behemoth to deal with.
Yeah, really easy to get access to that Warmog's Heart with the Cho'Gath, able to chomp minions. You kind of just you're gonna hit it eventually with all this bonus health coming through in the kit. Mundo kind of going for the same idea, but again, when this guy's got the bigger stick, Zoro owns the top lane right now.
Not only that, just keep in mind, I don't think the regen on the Warmogs has hit just yet. They did buff, or they did nerf the amount of HP it takes, so they upped it by about 200. So takes a little bit longer. However, Silly Goofy roaming around, ensuring that these grubs are not going to go the way of Conduit Regret. It is going to be a little easy take. Glada, of course, walking across a ward. This could be dangerous if they don't realize that Wheeze, watching from over the wall, does have Ghost ready to go and prep. This is a hard chase in. That's going to be smite number 1. Wisteria looking for a very nice budge. That's going to be a nice little catch on the far end. That was a rocket to try and snipe at least some damage, but it's healthy and easy take for the Wolves.
Yeah, a little bit of a tense moment there. Conduit Regrets kind of saying, we got the support move, but oh wait, this could be 4v4. Are we willing to fight just yet? And coming up with the answer no is probably wise. So the dust will settle on that one. We're looking at 3 grubs to 3 grubs, and Dragon number 2 has spawned under the rift.
I think the big part about this one is there is no TP on either end for the top laners. This Dragon could be very, very messy. Keep eyes on where Wisteria comes in for the play. Recall right there. Now a TP in. Scuttle's going to go their way, and now they're pinched. Take a look. Remember, Mystic has ultimate. The curtain call can do a lot of work here. Looks like they're going to chase. Young Jin goes straight in for that ultimate. He's going to get the Cyclone, drawing down that Cosmic Radiance. It is going to catch 4, which is pretty nice. Young Jin, though, getting a very nice resurrection, and that's going to leave Glada in a dangerous spot. Youngjin tries to dash forward, tries to get a little bit more damage, but exhausted out is going to be the play. And this actually turns into a favorable position for Conduit Regret. Low HP on Silly Goofy. Double bomb not going to land. Flash out. That's going to be a nice Spirit Rush to draw Yipsy in. And what a play of danger. A sideways angle, though, leaves Wisteria safe. And now you're going to jump right back in as Mystic picks up a kill. The bomb speeds you up. Mystic getting some damage. And it's play after play on both ends as the Wolves come out on top.
Wisteria is so damn good. I don't know what else to say. Like baiting Yipsy to E flash and R'ing out of that. Just the positioning, just the awareness to play away from the Jhin to not clump up for any kind of AoE shenanigans. Oh my, like the team fighting is so good. You saw Wanjun getting a little bit over eager. I think maybe that's just necessary to throw the Wukong in there, go for that res, and try to get out all these cooldowns. Because you see the Cosmic Radiance comes down, so much time. You have to peel back all these layers of defense, the Zillion ult, the Taric ulti, the Lilting Lullaby. There's just so much. So you have to play these fights. The fights are going to go long, especially when these top lane tanks get involved.
I think a big part about it is just you have to realize you are not the winning ticket. You're not the one getting all the kills. It's willingness to sacrifice yourself for the team, and it was something that was sorely missed in game number 2 when I think Glada had that Wukong. Now on the top side, we are seeing that rotation of 3. It is going to be a painful moment for Weez, who has the ultimate. Really doesn't have anything else to play for. This is just bullying for bullying's sake, as Wisteria picks up their 2nd kill of the game.
Yeah, like just fluid. They're fluid on the map. The Wolves just find a window where support and mid can just go dive top. And where's the punish? The punish is Dragon number 2. I don't think that's really. I think Wolves are playing their game again.
Do it. That's a stun over the wall. They are going to look for the kill, and Yeonjun can't do anything. So at least they get it.
Is he going to go down?
They got the dragon.
Okay. The Wukong's like 1 HP burning right now.
Yeah, that's a dangerous spot to be in. However, Mystic might be in the same area. That's a rocket flash away.
Okay.
Thankfully by Yeonjun, the pings are like, yo, get the heck away. So close.
And that's just the difference between regular season APL and playoff APL. We flash those every day of the week in playoffs.
I hope so, at least. That was very, very close. I'm not going to lie. It was a good one. But that is going to leave a little bit of damage down on the bot side. Trash Panda and Yipsy just trying their best to farm up. And keep in mind, they're a little bit low on the CS level, but they are going to break out of this bottom lane, be allowed to push towards that mid. TP from the backside, though, could draw a little bit of danger. I don't think it's actually going to give anything, though. As mid lane is really where we want to watch for. Wisteria into that Spirit Rush. May not get slept, though, so you are safe on the back end. It's still a dance, though, as that's a kill. Before the Cosmic Radiance came down, Rorna Zoro just says, yo, that's mine.
Yeah, probably the silence into Rupture into there's just so much CC just packed into this one champion. And as I say that, speaking of CC, Merciful Crow cannot move his champion whatsoever. And it's just so sad to see Conduit try again to take down Wisteria. They fail, and then the Wolves strike back in such a meaningful way.
I love every bit of it. Right now, the Wolves are looking so dang good, and I don't think it's stopping anytime soon. They are on their way to the Herald. They have gotten pretty much every single outer tower down. They just need one more in the bot side, and the Herald will help break open the inner ones as well. This is the Blue Saber Wolves Dawn that we know and love. Of course, Zoro in a little bit of a dangerous spot. No briefcase to land just yet. Good knock up. TP coming in here as Weez is going to try and finish off the kill, but you don't have flash, so you have to walk away. And Wisteria's like, yo, let's go. Let's have a blast here. Is going to land that charm. Is going to get some good damage, and no major burn left. But it's enough. Herald taken away, though. Now a chase on the back end. Yipsy is trying to wait, but you have no hard chase. And the Wolves are getting away with daylight robbery.
Yeah, the Wolves winning on the weak side and the strong side here. And Wisteria just finds himself alone in a wave without able to take the tower just solo. Like it's so hard to watch from the side of Conduits of just Wisteria is just always inevitable, just building this lead bit by bit and finding those pressure windows to just take over the game.
I will say it's not just Wisteria. Zoro has done very well on the top side, and Yeonjun kind of giving a masterclass in this rematch of the jungle matchup, except it was the opposite directions before, showing Glada how you play this Wukong, how you get almost an invitation to get kills right now. And Jordan, if you were Conduit or Regret, where would you be looking at right now? Like, what are you hoping to have happen in the current situation?
Honestly, it's really tough because as we talked about these team fights, oh, hold that thought. Zoro once more. Okay, he's gonna whiff. He's gonna whiff. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Attack the Cho'Gath lane. He's too damn tanky. You see them posturing, it's just not going to be worth it or efficient in any way, shape, or form. You kind of need to bait the Wukong again to get a little bit over eager onto your backline. So if I'm Yipsy, I'm playing in the enemy's face because I want Wisteria and Wanjun to be thinking about me. That's the Tarek's job right now. Take some of the aggro, take some of these cooldowns, eat a charm for the homies so that we can get some damage back. But when Glada is just permanently having to run out of his own jungle, there's nothing Conduit can really do.
I also love the fact that the Wolves are actively hunting for these. They're not playing passive. They're not sitting back. They're like, yo, we are going to take these dubs where we can. Merciful Crow having to play a little bit smart, clears the way, stays under tower, no mistakes made. Dragon coming up in just about a minute. It is another Mountain Dragon and another Mountain Soul to play for, which makes it 2 in 2, by the way. So 2 Mountain Souls, 2 Hextech Souls that have been played for in this game, but only one has actually led to the Soul and Elder being taken in that game. Conduit regret though, saying, okay, how do we do this one? We have to give up Dragon. I mean, you can't really contest it, so we're just gonna let Trash Panda farm it up as much as possible.
Yeah, you see Zoro was making his way down mid lane. He's gonna head out top to diffuse the pressure situation up there. And it looks like Dragon is in position, but we're gonna go for a fight first.
It's just so easy. The dive is good. The sleep barely does anything as Yeonjun is safe, and now they get to go on Merciful Crow, and that's another assassination. You even had a second life as the Chrono. It's too good. Oh,
Calculated.
man. Chrono shift is beautiful right there.
Yes, I completely agree. Great play coming in for Wanjun. Fearless on the Wukong. I don't know if it's a Wukong thing or if these players are just making it look really, really good. But the dive comes through. Not too much these mobile carries can do about it. Trash Panda is about to one-shot Zoro, I think. Gotta be careful.
In true Zoro fashion, by the way. In true Zoro fashion, is like, all I need is one swing.
Yep. No, exactly. Okay, so as we take stock of things, 2 dragons, 6k gold, and the Wolves are in their absolute comfort zone once again. Advantages in both solo lanes, and stabilizing just seems to be the name of the game for the bot lane of the Wolves. Just make sure that Conduit can't do anything crazy, and we are going to win this one. So Zoro is going to find himself flashing out of that one. A lot of HP, but that's a long lane.
It's a lot of HP, but not a lot of resistances in the back pocket because you see that burn build right now. So Glada is just like, yeah, I can at least run you out of town in a slow burn. But for right now, we are seeing that simple attempt. So that's just an ult in. Trash Panda getting zoned out here, and it's an easy curtain call to be made. Silly Goofy ensuring that no one else will die here. Cosmic Radiance only denies the inevitable for a short time. Hysteria over the wall is ready to play. Weeds coming in from the backside with the Ghost is looking to do some damage, and no one else is there to follow up behind because that's the charm and a half. That's Hysteria with the annihilation and the assassination, and then some wistful thinking from everyone else. That's a stun to kill. You know what? It doesn't matter though. You sacrifice yourself for the primary cause of getting the towers for your team.
It's a team fight when that damn Mundo wouldn't die and give Hysteria the reset, but such a great opener and such a great closer. This team fighting team in the Wolves is taking over game number 4. Are they going to secure the series? You gotta know Baron is the sights of both these two teams. Conduit stressed out having to ward it, and the Wolves ready to take a bite out of it.
I am just wholly impressed right now. It essentially feels like game 2 was an anomaly. It felt like the Wolves were like, okay, maybe we can mess around, and they did. They had enough time, but they're like, all right, lock in, lean forward in your chairs, and let's get this done. 50 CS lead for Zoro in the top lane, 20 in the mid lane. Bottom side is 40 comparatively, or 30, I should say. Mystic doing one hell of a job. It just feels so dang good. The Wolves at this point feel like they can do no wrong.
Yep, you're going to see them start to choke out some of this vision. That Baron pit is one of the restricted pits. And Silly Goofy going to go on a bit of a warding mission. but he's not really, he doesn't have to be respectful. There's no Nautilus in this game. There's no Syndra in this game. There's no like immediate threat on him. He can just go ward where he pleases as a ranged support. And Wisteria is just going to find another side lane. Wisteria's been doing this all series long, and here comes another team fight.
It's just that easy. It's just like, yo, we win these, and now all we have to do is keep you here because Viseria's pushing on the other side. That is going to be a Spirit Rush used just to clear out the waves, but in this jungle is where the main fight comes. Ronor Zero just leading from the side lane is like, yo, I dub these all the time. Control, the driver's seat, the gas pedal, the steering wheel, literally everything in the Wolves' favor.
Yeah, Wee's going to try and defend some of this, but again, that tier 2 going over. 700 gold in the pocket of an Ahri once again. Going to be able to go shop that one, and Wee's just going to burn the teleport to get over to the opposite side of the map to try and catch some of these waves. The relentless pressure coming in from the Wolves. They're going to make sure that this Baron goes dark, and they're going to have the Cho'Gath ulti to secure it along with Smite, so it just feels like an inevitability at this point.
Snap your fingers if you will. Rocket goes out, and it's gonna do a decent amount of damage. Yeonjun is not exactly the tankiest member right now. Silly Goofy doesn't land the double bomb, but here comes the fight. It was all a simple bait as Wisteria draws the battle lines, and there's the feast goes down. Cosmic Radiance lands on 2, but it's so late. Knockup not really going to work on Weeze's head. But Wisteria gets another charm, and you find the Lilia Cyclone to the backside, as Nana's only able to find 1 or 2 with the Drowsy, but it's not going to do enough. Rest of the team is ready to go. Another charm lands! You got it exactly on Trash Panda. Double bomb not going to land it. Trash Panda flashes away, but in comes the claw, and it actually looks like it's going to work. The late game power of Conduit of Regret can do it. However, the raw gold lead that Wolves currently have is enough to make it a 3-for-4 flash out by Merciful Crow as they're the last one standing. Curtain Call, though, might have something to say about that one. Sidestep 1, sidestep 2. Last is there to land. Mystic gets the ace, or delayed, if you will.
Such clean fighting coming in. They're just so relentless with their approach. They've got the lead, they've got the trigger pull, no hesitation, and that's what happens when you're playing Taric from a situation that you are this far behind. Just feels like you're pressing R for something, delaying the inevitable, and no control will be found on the side of Conduit Regrets.
They may be having some regrets about the composition that they have pulled today, but they are fighting like they have none. I respect them for trying to go for that fight. You got charmed quite a few times. You knew it was going to come off on the angle. You don't really have a choice in these situations. You have to go for it, and it feels like this Lilia has constantly been a bait. Whoever picks it feels like it's off on the wayside. Rocket completely dodges. That's going to be a root now. A little bit of a fight to come out as Wisteria is ready to flank along the side, and it's just damage all around. Charm just to secure that final kill, and now you get a chase. Yipsy has to run, but another pin against the wall as that's a Charm sidestep, but the damage is just too good. Another Q can take it. Not even that, the Foxfires can actually do some work, but Yipsy is able to live only if granted by the opposing squad, and it's just a hard rush of this bottom lane tower as the Wolves look to break the base.
Couldn't have said it better myself. They're going to break the first inhib, and I think now it's about that time that we pull that recall and head over to the Purple Worm. Grab those buffs for yourself. Make sure these recalls are clean. Don't give your opponents an opportunity to capitalize or delay you. But again, yeah, they've just played this game. They played this series so well. Game 2 was a bit of a hiccup. They played it overly reserved. Maybe something to do with the Wukong Lilia that seems to be oh so series defining this time. The Lilia team seems to be a little bit inactive, and the Wukong team seems to be a little bit explosive. And in the APL, we like that kind of look.
Love to see the messy, love to see the complicated, but love to see the action being taken. Baron is up and ready to be played for. Right now, I think the last time the Wolves went ahead and picked it up and said, okay, this is what we got to do. We got to make it play. But that's a beautiful fear. Merciful Crow was wishing that they could have done that earlier. Maybe this would have turned out the way it is. Wisteria is on a killing spree right now as they have 15 stacks on their Medjais.
That just feels so bad getting slowed 99% by a Zillion. There's like nothing.
Might as well be a Talon Q, bro.
There's nothing you can do.
Nope, nothing at all. Yeonjun
is looking once again.
It's just never ending. Look at that. They can do whatever they want to. They're just like, do we want to go jungle? Sure. Do we want to go Baron? Sure. Do we want to go for mid lane? Sure. We'll do whatever we feel like. As this is just going to be a brutal battle. Remember, that is a pink board in the pit, so the Wolves only have a vague sense of what's going on right now. It is going to be taken quite low, and keep eyes on that feast and all. It's going to be a Hail Mary of a play as Conduit Regret realize that this might be the last play, but they don't have their Hwei. Hwei does have TP, but it's going to be a messy chance to go in. It's smited away and nommed away as Gypsy goes in. We don't really have anything for your bucket. Cosmic Radiance is going to go down, and it will land on the front line, but Young Jun is in the back line, ensuring that death is galore. Glada is the next to fall as Wisteria chases for those kills. Severing strike from the skies will only sever the chase as Wheeze is going to fall, and Zoro is absolutely godlike.
24-5, Baron in the tank. Is this going to be the final push? Is the Blue Saber Wolves Dawn going to be taking down Conduit and moving in to the second round of the APL playoffs?
I think they can do it, and they're more than happy to conclude. It is an amazing time for the Wolves as they will reap their rewards. Game 2 looks spicy, but they close it out neatly. GG, well played. Mystic padding the bar. Doesn't actually get the kill yet as that fountain is going to heal him up, and Yipsy's actually trying to run interference. Glada is just working the way through. They don't really have mana, by the way, so this actually might turn it around. They're fighting in the dying breath. Rono just trying to close it out. Young Jun is about to get murdered in the back line. Trash Panda is on a double kill. Look at the chase, though, and others have to go out. Rono Zoro doesn't really have anything, so you might as well just fall down here. I love that. The turn, the ready to feast if you can, but it's not really enough mana. So Zoro's just going to walk away. By the way, I don't think Wheeze gets this. That's a side step, and now you get the regen. The regen pumping. Yeah, Wheeze is like, okay, bro, I can't do it. But God. Conduit Regret saved their base if it's only the Nexus in name.
Yeah, the Wolves like really trolled right there. I don't know how else to put that. They could have had the Nexus if they just kind of walked forward, but fought some champs, padded some stats. I don't think the conversation of the game is changing too much. It's a 13,000 gold lead on the side of the Wolves. They might collect soul. They're waiting on spawn timers, and they're probably just going to barrel this game straight down mid and look to put a nail in the coffin of this series.
At this point, you get soul. You just say it's perfect for us. We got mountain. That means we live for a little bit longer, and we don't have anything else to worry about. We are going to do just fine. I love the fact. I wonder how many stacks Zoro has. I keep forgetting to check. I haven't seen how many they have, and I'm assuming it's well into the double digits. I'm okay. 13. That's not as many as I thought, honestly, with how many kills they have. 7, 0, and 8. I honestly figured like 17 or 18. I almost thought like 20, but that would be a ridiculous amount to get in a single game. 4 right now, though. I mean, you're holding on to your okay, solo kill by Wisteria as we were watching a 2v5 occur. That is wild to see.
Yeah, it's just so nice when Mysteria's on a pick that he knows how to play and he knows how to find his sort of groove in the game. Like the Galio in that spot just felt so impactful. He was just eating forward on cooldown. He's just relenting in his approach, and the Ahri has been no different.
Oh, but that's going to be the Cosmic Radiance to stun and slow down this finale. But the finale will come whether they like it or not. Flash and Wisteria just looking for the base, and honestly, it's just GG. Mystic now getting into the mixes. That's another rupture to land. And there's the finish. Young Jun done with this game, done with the series. Blue Saber Wolves Dawn will take the series.
I don't know what else to say. The games that were theirs, it was never close. They dominated the top side of the map all night. The hiccup that was game 2 was honestly some really nice coordinated play from Conduit. They had this bright shining light of clarity where they knew what to do in the games. That was stalled out for about 20 minutes of a very slow early game. I mean, playoffs are playoffs. Again, these players are relatively new to this style of play, to this level of play for a lot of them. And a lot of these teams are relatively new, so you're kind of getting a feel for each other. And it doesn't just happen overnight. It doesn't happen in a couple months even. So one split together, you lick your wounds, you start to learn from these experiences, and suddenly you find yourself as a much more equipped player, having taken on these top dogs in the Crab Wranglers, in the Blue Saber Wolves Dawn, as we're approaching these later sides of the playoffs. And now the question of the Wolves is going to be who we facing next, and how are we gonna take them down? Because that was a nice series to see, but the final bosses are waiting.
That is a terrifying thought as well, because the Wolves had a little bit of a struggle, you mentioned, and when they look good, they look good, but someone will always challenge them at the top of the tables. Now, granted, remember, because the Blue Saber Wolves Dawn, I believe, was second or third in the standings, I don't think they'll meet Crab Wranglers just too quickly. They have a little bit more time, but I think we're going to get some words from one of the Wolves members. We're going to get an interview with one of the players to see how they do. So we'll go to a very short break, get them on, get them prepped and ready to go to get some insight into how the Wolves did today. Please don't go anywhere. And we are back, ready to go with an interview, I should say, because we got Yeonjun here, the jungler, the Wukong extraordinaire. And of course, the gloves were off in game number 4. Yeonjun, how you feeling after that victory? Because, you know, it was a pretty long game, too. You guys played for about 3.5, 4 hours.
Yeah, that game, too, felt like it took 4 hours. But I'm pretty happy about how my team played. We recognized what we did wrong in game 2. We fixed it, and as you see, we made quick work in game 3 and 4 to close out the series.
All right, so Wanji, let's get into some of the meat of it. So the first thing, like, you guys look like you normally do in games 1, 3, and 4. You guys look dangerous on the Rift. What's it like? So from the outside in, it looks like you guys pick a super scaling, super safe bottom side, and then you and Wisteria run the map, and then Zoro in the top lane seems to find his edge, and then just occupies a lot of the side lane pressure, and is just a really, like, that tag team play that you guys do with Wisteria occupying Zoro's lane, sort of like a mid lane roam, mid lane gank, and then just takes over the lane and pushes the tower. What's it like? Do you guys think you guys are just at that level as a team, or is it sort of just 5 individuals at playing at such a high level?
I think, in my opinion, we are just at that level as a team. Because me, Zoro, and Mystic, we've all played together on teams for years now. So, and we know each other. We're friends. So we just have that that synergy and that trust in each other. And then me and Rosaria we just happen to click really well as a mid jungle duo, and we're able to play off of each other and just make anything happen around the map, if that makes sense. And we trust in our bot lane to just chill, do what they need to do to get the job done, to go into mid to late game, and then Mystic will just take over, and Mystic and Rosaria will take over, and I just be like, watch my team carry the game. If that makes sense.
Believe me when I tell you, it shows. It shows that you are willing to die for your team, that you are willing to take that first plunge into danger, and I love to see it. You got a killer instinct. You guys show a lot of promise. What were your thoughts on, because I know Wukong is probably in your top 5 champions, but why was Wukong such an influencer on the series for both teams?
Okay, so I'll be 100% honest with you. I saw Wukong got buffed, and there's a new Wukong game coming out. So I was like, hold on. Maybe it's a double buff.
Yes!
So I started playing it in solo queue with Zoro. I was like, wait, this champion feels really good. So I told him, I was like, yo, we should try this at Scrim. So we did. It felt really good. And now I'm a Wukong man. And when I saw that they started picking Wukong, I was head scratched. I was like, they got that from me, 100%. I'm calling out Glada. He got it from me. He's my champion.
So they released a game, and that was just that outside influence that you needed to kind of take over in the series.
Yeah. I got another pick up my sleeve. We might see it next week.
Okay. So that's what I wanted to ask you. Looking forward, when we're looking at next week's opponents, when we're looking at what's going through your head when you're thinking of how you stack up against the top of the APL, because you finished the regular season 3rd, right? You didn't get those round 1 buys into the playoffs. But now you've got a series win under your belt, which some people would deem as sort of more valuable because you got that momentum as a team. You've come together, you've taken out an opponent. Now you got to take down some of the final bosses. How are you feeling?
So obviously we lost 2 in a row. It was kind of rough. There was some issues going on, but we sat down, we thought about it, and now we're kind of like rejuvenated as a team. I think, as you can kind of see in this series. So going into next week against either Clown Gaming, if they want to pick us, or Conduit Phoenix, if they don't pick us, I really like our chances. And all I have to say is, Clown, if you want to pick us, you know what I'm saying? Go for it. We'll see what happens. Y'all got that to kill, but we'll see what happens.
I love the fact that you have to point out, like, dang, yeah, they got a pentakill. We had to acknowledge it, but we're going to keep moving all right along.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, Yeonjun, you guys had a fantastic time. Obviously it was a long day, but do you have any final words that you like to give out? Any words of encouragement to your team? Any thanks to anyone that has helped you along this way?
I love my team. My team is amazing. When we're playing at our best, we can achieve anything. Some humble words of encouragement.
All righty. Well, Yeonjun, thank you so much, and congratulations on the victory. Even if you were the one trick on this day, it was so much fun to watch. Amazing job overall, and thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you so much for having me.
Alrighty, and with that, we are done for the night. Of course, there's more game in action to be had throughout the entirety of next week. Not only that, there might be some games. Keep a lookout on this weekend as well with the Aegis squad. But next week will be the continuation of playoffs, most likely the semifinals, and those will still be best of 5 starting on Monday with the Defenders League, and then throughout the week, keep in mind. Of course, that'll be it for us here on the desk. My name is Orbital. With me has been Jordan Bot, and of course, we got to give a big shout out to Chippy on the production. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in, and have a fantastic evening.